Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and today's live show is presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 when you play $5 with our good friends over at Prize Picks. Just make sure that you use code HMA. Hey, man, if you don't already know, my name is Mitchell Renz. Y'all are watching the Raiders Report. And, man, oh, man, we got a fun show on tap for each and every one of y'all out there. We're going to go through some of the Raiders news and rumors that have happened today over the past 24 hours. We got some top 30 visits to be able to discuss. I also want to be able to do 2 segments today. We're going to talk about some juicy, and I mean it, juicy trade rumors around Las Vegas. We're going to talk about a player that I have been told there's some conversations going on right now that the Raiders could potentially move on from this player. And in the same breath, I'm going to talk about a player that's actually at the Raiders facility today. I'm also going to talk about a player that's been kind of brought up in some NFL circles. And I'll tell you whether or not I think the Raiders are going to trade for that player. And then I wanted to do a brand new mock draft. But a lot of the times, just like anybody out there, you're going to see mock drafts from this guy. You're going to see mock drafts from this guy. Hell, I have freaking made 10 mock drafts on this channel alone this offseason. I mean, how many mock drafts have y'all done at home? Let me know down below. But what I wanted to do today is do a mock draft featuring only players that the Raiders have done top 30 visits with. So we already know for a fact that the Raiders have got top 30 visits. They drafted out of the 11 players last season, 4 of which were top 30 visits. So you know what I did today? Every single pick, you can't say the Raiders aren't interested because they brought them in for a top 30 visit. And then we are going to be doing a Venmo duck race, $20 if you're trying to get it in right now. Also, some random, and I don't even know if I'm going to call this NFL news or not, but NFL reporter Dianna Russini has officially resigned from The Athletic. She has literally just put out a statement on social media, and I know there's been a lot of stories around her with Mike Vrabel. To me, I'm not going to get into anything like that. But the reason why I talked about the Dianna Russini story here on the Raiders Report was because during the NFL Combine, she reported that Max Crosby told her directly that he was interested in playing with Mike Vrabel. I reached out to Max Crosby's team, and they told me that that is 100% not true, and that also that their team tried to stay away from Dianna because, quote, she lies a lot. I put this story out there. Again, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I do think at the end of the day, I want y'all to know when I've talked about stories before, I've obviously mentioned Dianna's name before on this program, and that's probably one of the biggest stories going on right now in the National Football League. But Dianna Russini has officially resigned from The Athletic. Let's go to some super chats today to the 350 people that are here in the building. Shout out to each and every one of y'all. And reminder, you want to get up here on screen like my guy Sherlock Raiders? Send in a super. Let's talk a little bit of Raiders. And like I said, 2 segments on tap for you today. What up, Mitch? How is everybody in the nation? I hope everyone had a great day. This is the best part of our day, dude. I appreciate that a lot, Sherlock. I literally was getting ready. Rebel, I'm not going to lie to you. Rebel, I saw he messaged me on Instagram. I don't know if Rebel Montana's here in the building, but he messaged me and he said that he was rocking one of his Raiders Report shirts and that somebody came up to him and introduced himself. But Rebel, I'm not going to lie. I had my phone in one hand and something in my other when I was getting ready for the program. But Sherlock, dude, I'll tell you this, man. This is probably one of my favorite parts of my day. Like, truthfully, you know, we come in here early. We had a lot of different things changing at Chat Sports, and you'll probably see what some of those changes are. You're going to be hearing a lot from Prize Picks. I can promise you that on our channel. But, you know, man, like, I love being able to do this show. I love trying to keep you guys up to date. But then also, like, I like being able to put my content creator hat on and talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's go to Tony. What up, Tony? Mitch, thank you for all the hard work that you do. I'm recording a double track, my home studio, and your show gives me a break. They cheer me up. Thank you. I mean, you guys, believe it or not, this is my own therapy session. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I like to think that I'm a hardworking guy. I think our team here works really, really hard. But also at the same time, Tony, when all you know is how to work hard, you don't even really know how to slack. And I've talked to so many people through my days. I mean, Bayou Raider, I got to know him really, really well here over the last few months. And that's a dude, like, no days off. But you do the no days off, because I'd rather me no days off. That way my wife, that way my dog, that way the people are close to me, they can take a few extra days off. What up, Phil? If you got a question for you, my guy, please, please, please let me know down below what that question is. Matthew, dude, again, man, shout out to you. I greatly appreciate that. So let me hit y'all with a question to get today's show started, and then I'm going to roll through and I'll tell you what the deals are here on the program. Before I get into that real quick, another super coming in from Arbor. Mitch, has there been any update on Najee Harris since his visit? Absolutely, positively none, dude. And sometimes when I see this, it could be because there is interest, but also in the same breath, it really could be because there is absolutely no interest, right? Because if I'm Najee Harris, I want to sign with a team after the NFL draft, after that team misses on a running back. Like, that's how I think he actually gets the most money humanly possible. He's not 100% like, how's the right way to put it? The way that he's injured right now is also very similar to like the way I would describe a Max Crosby surgery injury, where he's not even close to being ready now. He's definitely going to be ready for the regular season, but as your client or as a player, you go into that facility, like, you want to make sure that you're able to put your best foot forward, and I think Najee and his team know the longer and longer that they wait, probably the more money that they're going to be able to generate, because running back is a position that, you know, as much as we hate to admit it, injuries do happen in the offseason around that position. And then there's going to be a team, maybe it's the Raiders, right? Like, shit, like, I'm going to talk about some running backs today that the Raiders are eyeing in terms of, you know, the draft. But let's just say the Raiders don't draft a running back for whatever reason that is. Then Najee Harris is going to be able to go, well, now you need me a little bit more, and now I'm going to get paid a little bit more. So I think for a guy like Najee, I'm really not all that surprised that we haven't heard anything else. One of the other needs that this team has a no doubt need in is the safety position. But my question to Raider Nation is safety the biggest need for this Raiders defense? Give me a yes, give me a no. If you didn't see the video that I put out this morning, and if you didn't see the short that I put out late last night, Kamari Ramsey, USC safety, was in the building yesterday for his official top 30 visit with the Las Vegas Raiders. And I like Kamari Ramsey. He was a top 5 safety prospect for me overall. And, you know, I think the more and more I've talked to people about him, I mean, I've reached out to probably more. I've reached out to Tom. I've reached out to some of my other guys that I really value what they have to say in terms of just the player that he is. Now, here's what my guy Tom Downey at Chat Sports has to say about Kamari Ramsey, that he's a versatile player, more of a free safety than a strong safety, but also played a lot more nickel last season. Solid in coverage. Medical checks will matter because, you know, he's never had a full season. One of the people that I talked to that I'm very close with at the Raiders did believe that one of the main reasons that the Raiders brought in Kamari Ramsey was, yes, they do like him, but also because of the medicals. And I think that this is something that I write down every single year. I've been covering the Raiders. I've been covering the NFL for almost 10 years now. When there's a player that has a lot of top 30 visits, you can look at that in two ways. You can look at it as there's a lot of teams that are interested in that player. You can also look at it as, and this is kind of the way that I'm looking at it for Kamari. Again, do I think that they're interested? Yes. We needed safeties. I've been waiting for the Raiders to bring in the top 30 visit for the safety position. But I also know players that do have a lot of top 30 visits. It's teams also trying to figure out what are those medical checks. You know, you bring Ramsey in, your own team can do the medicals. That's a big deal, especially for a guy like Ramsey who's had some injury concerns. But I love the versatility that Kamari honestly shows, dude. I really, really, truly think it would be an interesting player. And who knows? Maybe you'll hear me talk about him a little bit more on the show. But I asked y'all this question. Give me a yes, give me a no. Is safety the biggest team need for this Raiders team on defense? V-Dog's going to go with a yes. K-Rock says no. Papa says no. Stabler for President's going to go for no. But then I see Mike Henderson's going to hit me with a yes. Excavator's going to hit me with a yes. Pop Toes, what's going on, my brother? Keith Anderson's going to hit me with a yes. And then Preston, hell yes. I know that this is a little split, but I think every single Raider fan will raise their hand when they said, when you saw that we finally had at least one top 30 visit, it was like, it's about freaking time. Because looking at the time was about 19, 20 players top 30 visits, none safeties. that was a little bit concerning for me. Let's go to Sherlock. What up, Sherlock? Denzel, Boston wide receiver, or a defensive tackle, a big boy. I would say the only DT that I would even consider taking over Denzel Boston is Kayden McDonald. And the other reason why I want people, when they hear me give my draft analysis, a lot of the times it has nothing to do with like the overall player. Like, I do think that Denzel Boston is probably ranked higher on my overall big board than somebody like Kayden McDonald. But then also in the grand scheme of things, like, I will break down certain players based on how I think they fit, based on the overall value. Like, I could make an argument that, yes, I like Denzel Boston a lot, but a receiver that I'm really just falling in love with based on the value is like a Zachariah Branch and Elijah Surratt. Like, Denzel Boston at 36, or those two other receivers that I just mentioned at 67, and then you could get a Kayden McDonald at 36, where in my mind, Kayden McDonald, Zachariah Branch, I like that better, I think, than Denzel Boston than Dominique Orange. So, again, I'm kind of ranting here. Paul Diamond, what's going on, dude? Mitch, do you think the Raiders trade up from 36? I really don't. Like, truthfully, I really do not think so. We're going to be doing a Chat Sports mock draft actually this Thursday. So if you guys don't know, hit that subscribe button. We did one for the first time last year, but it's going to be a 3-round mock draft. I'm obviously going to be making picks for the Raiders, 136 and 67. I bring that up. It also starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time this Thursday. I'm doing a special live show. I'll probably be live for about 3 hours. I bring that up because I've been getting asked a lot, hey, are you going to make a trade? Are you going to make a trade? I just don't see the Raiders doing that. And it's really more to do with the fact of, I know that they like a lot of other players. And if you go from 36 and, like, let's say you go up to 28, 27, 25, wherever you're going, you're probably going to have to give up that third-round pick at 67. And with a lot of the players that I've just been hearing that are linked to that team, they want pick 67. Now, you could still package 3 of those fourth-rounders and move up back into the third, but I'll say I actually think it's a lot more likely the Raiders trade back from 36 and try to get an extra, like, third-round pick and maybe a middle 50, 40 pick in there instead of trading up. But if they do trade up for anyone, I do think it's Denzel Boston, because you trade up to put the best people forward for Fernando Mendoza. And Boston and Mendoza is a beautiful pairing when you look at both of their skill sets. Pop Toes, shout out to you, my guy. To the 400 people here in the building right now, if you haven't already, make sure you click that like button. And I know that everyone that's watching the show right now who's commenting is subscribed to the Raiders Report, because you can't comment unless you're subscribed. If you are subbed, you probably saw me talk about this yesterday when the news became official, and Joshua Miles, he's an offensive tackle for the Raiders, he was placed on the reserve/retire list. Now, believe me, I'm sure some of you are going, who? Like, that's like the, what's the meme? Snoop Dogg. Who? Like, it's that meme when you're hearing Joshua Miles. But here's my promise to new people that are watching the show. I don't care how big of a name. I don't care how minor of a name. If it is a roster move, I am going to talk about it, and it's exactly why I'm talking about it yet here again. Now, has he played with the Raiders? No, he's never played with the Silver and Black. He was, I want to say, a 7th-round pick, and I believe it was the 2019 NFL draft, so it was a few years ago. But he's been bouncing around. He's played on a few different teams, but he was mainly a practice squad guy. He was signed late to our roster last season. So, is there a roster move? Yeah. Is it that big of a roster move? No. But I hope that you guys know, if Raiders news happens, hit that subscribe button. I do want to go through the deals, though, here real quick on today's program. And again, nothing's going to be too crazy today. If y'all are trying to get rowdy, I'm already telling you, our Friday show is about to be absolutely positively bananas today. So if you want to get it up on screen, got a super chat, got to use hashtag Raiders. If you super, we'll get you right up there. If you want to get in our duck race for a shot to win a little bit of money, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. It's going to be at the very, very end of the program. And I have to admit, I'm not proud of this, but Friday's show, shout out to Bayou Raider, shout out to Lord Cameron Abbott, shout out to all of y'all that made that show absolutely insane. I don't remember how that end of that show went too well. And we were supposed to put somebody in for our Raiders Report mock draft that we're going to be doing. We were supposed to add somebody, and And I think Lopez and I both were pretty banged up from that program. So today, if you come in second place in our mock draft, so how do you get in? $20 Venmo. I'm going to add you to our Raiders mock draft, which is going to be a video that I drop this upcoming Monday. I've done mocks where it's just me. Obviously, I've done mocks with other Raiders content creators. I will never do that again. And then now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do mock drafts with people that watch this show. So if you could show me that list 10, Lopez, of like who's already participating in this Raiders Report mock draft, and if Jansen or if anybody else is here, they're like, well, wait a minute, dude, I do remember who won it, then please let me know. So I already know that the round 1 pick's going to be Fernando Mendoza. Our MVP from last Friday's show was Lord Cameron Abbott, so he's going to be picking there at 36. Whoever's going to be the MVP this Friday, you're going to get round 3, pick 67. Arbra, on his birthday, ended up getting pick 102. You're going to notice that round 4, pick 117, it says raffle because I think that was the one. So the one that we have to update today is the round 6, 208. Round 6, 208 is the one that I have to update, but as you can see, I also should have updated round 4, pick 117. So I'm doing my best here to be able to work through all of the nonsense, but I wanted to be able to figure out a way to do a Raiders Report mock draft with each and every one of y'all. I might have to go back, though. I actually think that 410 raffle is supposed to be Move Me Podcast. Maybe it is. I'll double check. I'll have to go look. But we are going to be giving away today one spot, and whoever comes in second place of our duck race, you're going to be picking in round 6, 208. I just wanted y'all to know that. Pick 208 if you come in second place of our duck race. And if you do, I'll be able to message you. We're going to get a whole group chat together. We're going to be able to do a mock draft all together. Richard. Oh, Richard. Richard, I saw the photo you sent me. You will see yourself on a video today. And, Richard, I actually took the honors of flipping your photo, so that way it would show Raiders Report the correct way. But you'll see what I'm talking about here in a moment. Mitch, if defensive tackle Kayden McDonald is there at 36, we should take him. If not, their safety. See, I'm actually going to disagree with you a little bit, Richard. Not in the like, if the Raiders draft Kayden McDonald, I'm not going to get mad. Like, you know, I can make an argument, oh, maybe it makes more sense to go with the Denzel Boston. Maybe it makes more sense to go with the KC Concepcion. But when I put my head down on my pillow, the two players that I'm, like, praying to God are available to the Raiders at 36, Denzel Boston and Kayden McDonald. Like, to me, those are the two players, when I get asked that question, that's the one that puts me in the most mental pretzel possible. The problem with, if not safety then, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, gone. Dylan Thieneman, gone. Like, those two safeties are going to be your top two safeties. After that, there's a gap. Like, I like A.J. Halsey. I like Bud Clark. I like Kamari Ramsey. I like Genesis Smith. There's a lot of safeties that I like. There's really not many safeties that I like at pick 36. Like, I don't have a single safety in my top 50 overall rankings. And that can be a little bit concerning. But, like, that take right there, if not, then safety then. If that's your mentality, you're probably team trade down from pick 36. Like, if Kayden McDonald, Denzel, Boston aren't there, can we be team trade down and try to get a few extra picks? I don't think that that's a bad idea. But, Richard, shout out to you. I got your photo, and you will see your picture on a Raiders Report show today. Rebel, where does Bane fall after the scandals? Oh, boy. This is a very interesting question, and I only say that because I feel like a lot of NFL insiders are making it seem like, oh, we already knew that. We knew the issue. But then why hasn't really many people been talking about it? You know, I think sometimes insiders do that when they're like, they act like they knew it, but they truly didn't. I'll say this is probably a really unpopular take. I would rather have Ruben Bain than Arvell Reese. And I only say that because Arvell Reese to me is probably the better athlete, but Ruben Bain to me I think is the better defensive end, better edge. Now it also probably depends on what style of defense that you're going to be playing those guys in, right? Like Arvell Reese, outside linebacker in a 3-4, that's really interesting. Ruben Bain Jr., if you were to put him at defensive end in a 4-3, I think that's really interesting. But I really don't think he's going to fall out of the top 20. I don't think he's going to fall out of the top 15. Like, he's an outstanding player. He shows up in the big, like, the way he played against Fernando Mendoza in that national championship game, the way that he played in the college football playoffs is why I love Ruben Bain as much as that I do. I had the opportunity to meet Bain at the NFL Combine. I mean, dude was just wearing he was literally just wearing sweatpants, a shirt, didn't even have a fresh haircut. You see a lot of those other guys, they're I think Ruben Bain showed up as if this is another day at the office and he's just trying to get his work done. I'm a big, big fan of Ruben Bain, but I don't think he falls out of round one. I don't think there's any chance in hell he's going to be there at 36. If he starts getting around that area, I'm not team trade up. I would consider trading up then for Ruben Bain. Let's go to Jonathan. What up, Jonathan? Mitch, thanks for all the updates. Are you guys going to be in Las Vegas for the draft? Got those mango milkshake IPAs for you boys. I'll tell you that I love a good mango cart. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. No. I mean, I love mango cart. If it's on tap, is probably my favorite beer. So if anybody's ever out at a bar and you're like, oh man, I want to buy Mitch a beer. Hey, don't be afraid. Grab me a mango cart. You just got to let me buy round 2 and 3. In terms of will I be in Las Vegas for the draft? No. We go live here at Chat Sports. So I'll be live for all 3 days of the draft. I'll probably be live for a combined, I'd say 24 hours from day 1, day 2, day 3. It's just the NFL draft for our team here at Chat Sports is it's such a big time thing. So no, I won't be in Las Vegas, but that's because I'll be live here. Even when the draft was in Las Vegas, I'm still going to be live here in the studio, but that's because we go live for the draft. We make tons and tons of content that day. And if you don't already know, we will actually have the picks on this channel way before you see them on TV. There's times we're 2, 3, 4 picks ahead of what you see on the national television broadcast. O'Neal, what's going on, O'Neal? You were, I don't know if you saw the video that I put out. I think it would have been yesterday, this morning. Might have been the one we already filmed. One of my most recent videos, O'Neal, you're in that with the photo that you sent me. Do you think we're in a position for need at 36 or best player available with our additions in free agency? Truthfully, I do think it can be a little bit of a mixture of both, right? I would say our biggest team needs are wide receiver, free safety is truly where, I'm going to hang my hat on our 2 biggest needs on offense and on defense. Now, do I think Kayden McDonald at defensive tackle or A.J. Halsey? I would go Kayden McDonald, even though I think free safety is a bigger need overall. But I think actually because we crushed free agency, I think also because our roster is much better, we can look at certain players and we can go in that direction. But I think the other really important thing that the Raiders need to do, because you have 8 picks after pick 36, it's you got to look at the rest of the draft, right? And it's kind of what I said earlier of I like Kayden McDonald and Zachariah Branch pairing more than I do Denzel Boston and a Dominique Orange. So because wide receiver is so deep, I'm a little bit more okay passing on receiver at 36 because I know there's some other really good names a little bit later on in the draft where, if we, let's say, trade back and we don't have a safety at a certain spot, there's going to be times where I'm oh, man, I'm starting to get a little bit worried because the safety depth is good, but I don't know if it's as good as that wide receiver position. Same with defensive tackle. Defensive tackle to me, I like some guys at the top, and then there's a little bit of a void period, and then there's some other good guys near at the bottom where you look at the running backs. I love the value at running backs on day 3. Stabler, what's going on, my brother? To the 515 people here in the building. What's going on? Mitch, aren't you concerned about Boston's overall speed? I think he should put on about 25 more pounds to become a tight end. He could possibly be another Brock Bowers. Yeah, see, here's the biggest misconception, I think, in your super chat. Brock Bowers's don't grow on trees. I don't think people realize how truly, truly great Brock Bowers is. He puts on 25 more pounds, and he might not even be in the NFL. I think he turns into, oh, my God, what was that guy's name? He was a Florida State receiver a few years ago. I feel like he was drafted really high, and they were trying to make him into a tight end because he was a little bit too Kelvin frickin' Benjamin. That's who I think if Denzel Boston put on 25 pounds, he turned into Kelvin Benjamin. That's an elite pull. I was like, who the hell is that guy that I'm thinking about? But, is the separation, is the speed a little bit of a concern? Sure it is. But, there's been other receivers, Puka Nacua isn't a blazing fast guy. CeeDee Lamb isn't a blazing fast guy. I like Denzel Boston because he's got an outstanding catch radius. He's a really good red zone threat. But he excels on those 50-50 balls, back shoulder balls, which is something that Mendoza is really, truly great on. And he needs more time, and he's going to get better and better and better and better. And if there's one player that I feel like I was a little bit too low on last year is Teteroa McMillan. Like, if you're a fan of Teteroa McMillan, why aren't you a fan of Denzel Boston? Do I think McMillan's a better prospect? Yes, I do. But I also think that their game is a little bit similar where he's not going to blow your doors off with 40 times and running elite speed, but he's a really good receiver. And sometimes I'll take that over the elite athlete aspect because, again, you have a guy like Dante Thornton Jr. runs a 4.35. And I don't even know if he makes the team this season. O'Neal, yep, I appreciate you for that. Again, like, I want all of y'all, if you're getting Raiders Report gear, tag me on IG, tag me on Twitter. I want to be able to showcase you. So, appreciate you, my dog. Alfredo, how much patience does Cousins get if their team starts 0-4? How do you think the Raiders approach that? I mean, if the Raiders are 0-4, I think the conversation is two things. Is it because Kirk Cousins is really bad, or is it because the Raiders are not playing all that well? I think if we get to an 0-4 situation, I don't know if it's going to matter, and I only say that because for Tom Brady to think the way that he does, and I think Tom Brady wants Mendoza to learn for a year, for Clint Kubiak and John Spytek to both have the same thought process of, in a perfect world. I mean, that was an actual term used at the NFL owners' meetings. In a perfect world, Mendoza sits and learns behind a veteran. I think it really comes down to, what is the Raiders' expectation for this season? Like, sure, they want to win right away, but if the number one thing that they're concerned about this year is Fernando Mendoza turning into a franchise quarterback, and they're willing to put that in the forefront instead of wins this season, are wins important? Yes, of course they're important. But I think it really is going to come down to more of what the Raiders' overall plan is. If their plan is to win football games and they're 0-4 because of Kirk, then yeah, I think you got to roll with Mendoza, and it's a New York Giants situation from a season ago. But if your plan is like, hey, we want Mendoza to start next season no matter what, then you better keep Aidan O'Connell, you rock with Kirk Cousins, and you let Mendoza sit and marinate. But 0-4 would be hard to handle after taking the number one overall pick, especially if Cousins doesn't look good, and especially if Fernando Mendoza in the preseason in July, like, I can already promise you, the amount of reports that Mendoza looks good, Mendoza this, Mendoza that, they're going to be everywhere. And even if he doesn't look all that great, those are going to be reports that come out because coaches are going to say it to beat reporters. You're going to hear everybody. Like, I'm telling you, there's not going to be people that are saying bad things about Mendoza, so the hype is going to be there. And then if he goes out there and does that thing in preseason, it's going to be really hard to hold back Raider Nation. And but I think it's also because I'm excited to see Fernando. Like, somebody asked me the other day, Mitch, are you going to do your Madden season? Yep, I'm going to do my Madden season. If you think I'm starting Kirk Cousins in that Madden season, you're maddening. Like, you're crazy. I'm going with Fernando. There's no way that I'm going to start Kirk Cousins over Fernando Mendoza in May and June for my Madden season. But it's because we want to see Fernando go out there and do the damn thing. So I'm going to refresh my phone. I'm going to see how many people are in this duck race right now. And again, if you do not know, friendly reminder, at Mitchell Renz, 365, LA Crash Dog, I see you. You're in. Also, I see Jeremy Gerds getting it in. Friendly reminder, if you come in second place in our duck race today, you're going to get in our Raiders Report mock draft. If you come in first place today, you get the money. So if we did it right now, Crash Dog, you're in. Gerds, you're in. We got you, man. We got you. I did just see another super chat roll in here on the program. And, all right, so what I realized I did wrong in that graphic that I made originally, so the guy that was picking 185, the Talk to Me podcast, he's actually at pick 117. He's at pick 117. Yeah, so the one that shows round 6, 185, he's at 117, and then where he's at 185 is a raffle that I'm doing on Friday. I was like, what did I F up in that? So that's on me. So move the podcast. If you saw that, that's my bad. I was trying to make it up, and I didn't want to confuse you. Hell, I was confused myself, quite frankly. If you don't know what you're looking at on screen, this is like our 50-50 raffle. You could scan that QR code that you see right here. You can add me as a friend. You send $20 in, and you got a shot to win some money and be a part of our Raiders Report mock draft. Philip Boger, I got you in my guy. So it's that one. Yep. So 417 raffle. It's also in my bang doc, if you need to see it in there. Yep. I got it, yeah. So now this is the correct thing that it looks like. Here's the Raiders Report mock draft that I'm going to be producing and publishing on Monday, April 20th. So where we could be at today is that round 6, 208. So if you come in second place in our duck race, you're going to get picked 208 in our mock draft. So when you see 417, that means this Friday, I got you in. And then that round 4 pick 134, that's going to go to a mod, and that's going to go to a mod on Thursday because I'm going to need some extra help when we go live for our Chat Sports mock draft. And that whole mock draft, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a live mock. We did one last season. I'm a man of the people, so if you want me to go in certain directions, hey, I can be convinced. Gerds, what's going on, Gerds? Gerds, I will say this. I've talked about this topic a bunch. I don't love talking about this topic for obvious reasons, but I'll just say this. I think the fact that Ruggs is getting a second opportunity, I think him not spending the rest of his life in jail is that second opportunity. In terms of playing in the NFL again, if it was up to me, I wouldn't allow him to play in the NFL again. If it was up to me, I would never allow him to be a Raider ever again, and I don't think he will ever be a Raider again. So I do think fans need to understand that because of, the Raiders are just trying to get themselves on the right track, and I don't think bringing in somebody with that past is a good look for a football team. But my number one way that I answer this question, because I know I've answered this one probably over 100 times, is if the Tinter family is okay with Henry Ruggs playing in the NFL again, who the hell am I to say that, no, he doesn't deserve to play in the NFL again? It's just I would be really upset with the Raiders if they brought him back. Because, again, I think his second chance is not spending his rest of his life in jail. I know people are going to agree with me or disagree, but my easiest way that I can answer this is, if the Tinter family is okay with him playing, who the hell am I to say no? If the Tinter family said no, I don't think that he deserves to play, I would look at each and every one and I'll say, I don't think he deserves to play in the NFL again. And if he does play, I hope that he gives a large portion of every single check that he gets to that family because that's just my opinion on the topic. James K., what's going on, James? Any way we trade back into the top 10 for Caleb Downs? Absolutely, positively not. I know Caleb Downs is a hell of a player. I know that safety is our biggest need. But to me, you can't give up a first and a second round pick to be able to go do it. And I honestly think it would cost you pick 36. I think it would cost you maybe even I guarantee it costs your first round pick next season. And because that is a guarantee, there's no way you do it. I mean, I guess I would say the only other way that you're not going to trade away your number one overall pick next season is if, truthfully, I think the only way that you would end up doing it is if Colt Miller or Max Crosby are involved in a trade. And that also makes absolutely no sense and not going to happen. Anthony Diaz, what's going on, man? If we make the playoffs, does Cousins start next year? No. To be real, I think the only way Kirk Cousins starts next season for the Raiders, and when I say next season, I mean 2027, is a legit Super Bowl win. And it's really because of the money, the contract, because what the Raiders really also need to make sure of is you need to make sure that Fernando is your guy. And when you have Fernando on that cheap rookie contract, like that's when you really get to evaluate, I think, the type of quarterback that you have, because then in that third year, the hope is you're going to give Mendoza $60 million plus. The only way in hell I want to be able to give a quarterback $60 million plus is if I have a larger sample size than one season. Now, sure, if he comes out in that 1 year after sitting for 2, you're going to feel great about it. But if he's really good in 2 years back-to-back, that feels a lot better. Like, imagine if C.J. Stroud, we did this with Stroud, right? Let's say C.J. Stroud, that first year he comes out and he's like, wow, this is awesome. And then you give him that big-time deal, and then he looks like C.J. Stroud that we've seen over the past few years. I think you want to see the sample size on that cheaper contract a little bit longer. So I would say the only way Cousins is coming back is with a Super Bowl. But at the exact same time, I guess I want Kirk Cousins back. What up, Baby Tune? I feel like we should draft defense in the second round. Bowers is an elite threat alone, and we have some decent route runners available. Wait for 2027. I think actually one of the worst takes that I've seen on social media is that the Raiders should wait until next year to draft a wide receiver. I think it's a really bad take. I've seen some people throw that out there. Do I think that Bowers is a stud? Yeah. Do I think Michael Mayer's one of the best tight end twos in the football? Yes, I do. But also at the exact same time, Trey Tucker, Jack Besh, and Jalen Naylor, I want that room to be a little bit better. And, that room alone, like outside of that, we don't really have anybody else that we can rely on. Shedrick Jackson, Dante Thornton Jr., I don't even know if those two guys are going to make the roster. And then you got Derek Young, more of a field stretcher. The Raiders will and need to add a receiver, I would say, in those top 102 picks. Like, you got 4 picks, right? You got Mendoza. Well, that's off the board. 36, 67, 102, I'm going to say has to be a wide receiver. Or you're going to sign a receiver. Like maybe a Keenan Allen, a Deebo Samuel, a Jawan Jennings after the draft if you don't love some of the players that are presented to you. But I think waiting until next year to go out and get a receiver is a really bad organizational move from top to bottom. Kurt, I don't know what you're saying right now. Rumors teams are interested in Ruggs. I mean, I'll tell you this. If he comes back, he's going to be 27 years old. He's going to be fast. Like, if you're an NFL team that doesn't value, off the field and all you care about as a player, like, I could see the Dallas Cowboys getting a guy like Henry Ruggs. But in terms of, like, the Raiders, like, the way that I think about Clint Kubiak, the way that I think about John Spytek, the way that I want the Raiders to operate, yes, winning is important. And obviously, commitment to excellence, just win, baby. It's all those things. But, like, I'll tell you this. If you brought back Ruggs, and I don't say this lightly, I wear my Raiders stuff loud and proud. I mean, I literally got it all over me. That would be a day I probably wouldn't wear Raiders stuff. I'd be a pretty upset fan if you brought Ruggs back. And, again, I love this team. It's tatted on me. That would be a pretty depressing day as a fan. I would not be proud of my organization if they did that. A guy that I'm definitely proud in is Bayou Raider! Bang! Hey, man, if y'all don't know, this Friday, Bayou Raiders got a shot to get in. Mount Raidermore. I've talked to Zahn. I've talked to Ron. I've talked to LCA. I've talked to a bunch of the guys that probably have more say than I do on this show. They want Bayou in, and if you guys want to see a crazy show, I'm telling you, this Friday, I think this Friday might make last Friday look bad. So I got to get my IVs. I got to get my electrolytes. I'm ready to frickin' party because Bayou, sadly, I didn't get out of bed Saturday morning until like legitimately 9 o'clock. And maybe that doesn't sound like a long time for all of y'all. 9 o'clock for me getting out of bed is like if my wife were to get out of bed at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, are you okay? I get up just about every morning at 7, 6:30, like on the weekends. For like the weekdays for work, I get up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. I am a morning person. Your boy was hurting by you. You and LCA absolutely kicked my ass. So much so that when our show ended on Friday, I told Mount Raidermore that I would join Chugs' live stream for the Rockets game. I did not make it. I passed out. I was unconscious. I was drooling. It was no good. Oh, man. What's for supper tonight for me? Alex yesterday made chicken. She made this like curry thing, and then we had some leftover shrimp. I actually ordered some boiled daddy. Shout out to my guy Obi in Deep Ellum. You guys have probably seen him on Twitter from time to time. But Alex the other day, she was like, I'm like craving seafood. I want to get some Cajun seafood. And I checked my DoorDash Uber Eats account, and I was like, oh, shit, we're getting Obi's spot. So I messaged him. I was like, Obi, just so you know, my wife, I had no say. She picked you guys out, and we crushed it. Any concerns at linebacker due to both Dean Walker having prior injuries? Just trying to think of questions we may not have discussed. Thank you for all you do and all your efforts. I do think that there is a concern in terms of depth at that linebacker position. Do I have more confidence in Tommy Eichenberg than maybe some other people out there? Like, I do actually think Tommy Eichenberg is a good depth piece linebacker. He's not going to overly flash, but I think at times last season he showed that he can be he's around the football. He does what's necessary, and sometimes like that's what I need out of my linebacker. Cody Lindenberg is somebody I'm still a little bit on the fence on. Shegu Alobi, who the Raiders brought in, is more of a special teams guy. But see, the fact that the Raiders have only done a little bit of homework from top 30 visits around the linebacker position, they brought in a guy from Cincinnati. His name is Jack Dingle. And this is a very intriguing prospect, somebody that I see being a day 3, like late day 3, UDFA style of option. But I remember I was talking to Tom at the Combine, and he was like, if there's one player, now we have another office at Chat Sports. We're based in Dallas. Our other office is based in Cincinnati. So as soon as I saw the name Jack Dingle, I reached out to Tom. I reached out to our other guys in the Cincinnati office, and I was like, what have you heard about him? And Tom told me that this is probably like one of the most underappreciated linebackers in this year's class for day 3 that you can get a little bit later on. So, like, do I think the Raiders add a linebacker? Yes, I do. And I think that we need to add a linebacker. But also at the same time, I do think Tommy Eichenberg is a much better player than probably what he gets credit for. And I think another reason why, I'm not going to lie to you, I would love for the Raiders to potentially add another safety is so then if injury were to happen, like I almost wonder, could you bring Germie Chin in a pinch, let him play that linebacker role? Because there was one guy from the Raiders that I talked to last season that said the Germie Chin signing was their way of kind of going cheap Robert Spillane replacement and Trevon Merrick wrapped up into one. And I remember hearing that, and I remember like the way that they kind of used him. But, I mean, the answer is yes, I do think linebacker is a position that we have a little bit of concerns on after those two guys. Because after that, it does get very, very thin. But also, I am extremely proud that the Raiders on how quickly they were able to build that linebacker room. Because Devin White, Landon Roberts, Jamal Adams, to Quay Walker and to Kobe Dean. That's what I like to call the upgrade button. Gunny, what's going on, Gunny? And if you guys don't know, go to saveawarrior.org/donate. Tell them that guy, Father Tom, sent you. Gunny, you've been a real one, dude, for a very, very long time. I'm happy that I was able to, we were able to help you out the other day. You mean a lot to a lot of people. I want you to know that. So I guarantee you this, Gunny, once a month I'll get a DM from some random Raiders fans that's like, hey, man, like, appreciate what you do, this and that. Make sure you tell, like, Father Tom or, like, LA Crash Dog that I say hi. Again, like, you guys are really, really important to this show as well. You guys keep it moving. Jeremy Gerds, I see Trey Lance's brother Bryce is climbing up draft boards. Is he worth considering for a later pick? I guess how late do you consider it? Because, Bryce, he's a receiver where I've talked to some of the guys here at Chat Sports. They think he could go day 2. That's really, really early to me. I don't look at him as being a day 2 guy. I look at him as more being that receiver that you're going to be able to get a little bit later on there on day 3. Now, he's got a lot of vertical ability. He's got really good contested catch results, but is that just because of the competition that he's going up against? No doubt he's a good athlete. Quickness and route running, it's not his game. Like, I kind of look at him as already being a Dante Thornton Jr. style of player, which the upside's definitely there, but if I was the Raiders, I would look to go a little bit of a different route because I would actually like the Raiders to see if they can make Dante Thornton work because he's an outstanding dude. Like I'm telling you, he's an outstanding young man. I do know that he works really hard. Like, truthfully, I know that he does. He's super well liked in that locker room, but he's a project, and we didn't have the right staff last season for that style of project, and again, like I know I've made some videos recently about, hey, like there's a shot, and there is. Like he's absolutely on the bubble. But in my opinion, I would rather us not totally give up on a guy that we drafted in the 4th round, 135 overall last season in Dante Thornton, and I would rather us try to make him work instead of taking Lance. Probably at pick 134 is probably where you're going to have to go get him. So that's just my personal opinion on it. But Gerds, thank you very much for the question. Are we all caught up? Lopez is saying, yes, we are all caught up. And a friendly reminder yet again, if you want to win some money, $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. And if you want a chance to get in our Raiders Report mock draft, where you are going to be the one that makes the picks, and I'm going to be the one that decides how much I like the pick or not. I've done this in years past. Like I said, in years past, I've done it with other Raiders content creators. Unfortunately, there's been certain people that I've done those mocks with that have ruined it, and I will never do another Raiders content creator mock draft unless, unless I can. I'm probably never just going to do it again, and it's sad to say, but it's the God-honest truth. But to me, if you end up coming in second place today, you're going to get the pick at 208 in that mock draft. So today, when you see the 4/14, that stands for April 14th. That's going to be a duck race. I will also be adding pick 67, and the dates you'll be able to see. Like, our Friday show is a really, really big show. Like, I'm telling you right now, our Friday show is going to be blowing the roof off of this joint. It's going to be wild. And I hope if you haven't already, go get your drinking pants, because I'm telling you right now, you're going to need them. Dan Fry, you, sir, are in the duck race. I got you in, my dude. And then I also see we got Charles C. I got Bayou in the building, and then Richard Black are all getting it in. We've been live here for about 50 minutes. So what I got coming up here on the show is we're going to do one more Super Chat from Stabler, and then I got 2 segments on tap for all of y'all. The first segment is going to be around some juicy trade rumors. We're going to talk about Aidan O'Connell. We're going to talk about a player that's on the trade block, and I'll tell you whether or not I think the Raiders are going to go out and get that guy. But then also, we got to talk about the draft. Mitch, is Zachariah Branch better than TT? And if we pick him, will TT get dealt? Oh, Trey Tucker. I think Trey Tucker is better now than Zachariah Branch, but again, like, Tucker's also been in the NFL for 3 seasons. Do I think that Zachariah Branch will be a better pro than Trey Tucker? Yes, I do, but that's also just because of I think Zachariah Branch is a better receiver. Trey Tucker might be the better blocker overall, but in terms of what Branch brings to the table, and the Raiders are clearly interested in him, they had a top 30 visit with him, they had a combine meeting, and they did a pro day. Last year, Ashton Genty, Caleb Rogers, and Charles Grant were the 3 players that the Raiders held all of those 3 things with. He's got blazing speed. He offers you help on special teams. Like, he just kind of seems like a younger version of a Trey Tucker. Also got that Georgia background, which I do know is really important for some of these coaches because they learn how to become part of a program. But does need to get better with that route tree. The way that I look at Zachariah Branch, if the Raiders bring him in, is that's your Trey Tucker replacement. Like, Tucker's going to be a free agent next season. You let Trey Tucker hit the open market. Then you got Zachariah Branch, Jack Besh, Jalen Naylor, and then, hopefully we brought in somebody else this offseason. But if you don't want to pay Trey Tucker, I think drafting Zachariah Branch could be a really interesting option to help replace him in a year or so. I think the other thing that he does a lot better than Trey is again, I think he is a better catcher of the football. But Tucker, he creates a lot of separation. And this year is going to be fun because he's finally going to be in an offense with a quarterback, hopefully, that knows what the hell that they're doing. Because it's been a while since I've seen a Raiders offense that knows what the hell that they are doing. All right, y'all. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into our very first segment on the program today. And then after that, I got a mock draft for you. So first segment's going to be a lot of rumors. If you want to see some just win babies, you are in the right spot. To the over 530 people that are here in the building right now, if you appreciate the content that we provide and you want a shout out on the show, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've missed talking about Prize Picks. And I'm just going to tell you all this right now. You're going to see a lot of Prize Picks on the Raiders Report going forward. I've been doing this show for a long time. We've had a lot of different, sponsors, all different shapes and sizes. But I just saw Yoda Jenkins spamming PP down below. I want y'all to really show up and show out the Prize Picks. They really are changing the game here at Chat Sports for us. They're really elevating their game. I'm going to be talking about them a lot. Like I said, probably just about every video that I do going forward will be Prize Picks. So if you want to shout out, give me a PP down below. I see Yoda Jenkins in the building. Slurricane, what's going on? Bayou in the building. Raider Rant, I see ya. Richard Black, Anthony, Yoda, Stabler for president. Let's keep this thing going because, again, when you guys show up and show out for our sponsors, believe it or not, it does really, really, truly help us. And I know I ask a lot of y'all. I know when I do like a sponsor read, I'm sure that there's a portion of y'all that totally tune out. But I also do hope that, like, when you guys see what we're about to start doing more moving forward, I hope that you do, like, really show up and show out for Prize Picks. And even that, if that's just spamming PP every single time that I talk about it. New Bread, Pond, Loyal, L.A., Papa Roach, Grandpa Dro, I see y'all. Yep, I put them both in photo. Just because I have two different lineups. So I have a lineup for today, and then I have my season-long lineup. But they're both in photo. Yep. They're correct. And then the other one will be for the mock draft. Yep. I guess before I get into this show, my question that I'm going to ask all y'all is, do you think Aidan O'Connell will be on the Raiders roster week 1? Yes or no? Do you think Aidan O'Connell will be on the Raiders roster week 1? Give me a yes. Give me a no. Obviously, we just signed Kirk Cousins. We're going to draft Fernando Mendoza. We've been doing some homework on some UDFA day 3 style of quarterbacks. And I'll say this. Would anybody be surprised if Aidan O'Connell won it out? I'll tell you this. I personally would not be. I'm not saying that a trade's going to happen. I'm saying a trade might happen. And that's one of the things that we will discuss today. User says no. Buckeye says, oh, yeah. Rebel's going to go with the yeah. Rebel, what shirt were you wearing? Were you just wearing like a normal like Raiders Report stuff? Kind of curious. And, yes, I'm not going to lie to you, Reb. I was using the restroom when I was texting you, so hopefully you're not too upset about that with me. My opinion says we should trade Aidan O'Connell. I think it comes down to what you get, right? If you're willing to offer me a 2028 7th-round pick, I don't really know if that's all that interesting to me. We'll see. We'll see. Kirk said he could end up being better than current Cousins if the line was good. I actually don't think that that's an impossible statement either. Like, if I'm being 100% honest with you, when you see how much turnover Aidan has had and he's had to deal with, it's a lot of turnover from top to bottom. So when you're good, just let me know, and then we'll be able to. So, again, all you have to do for the first part of it is presented by, and then you just got to show that lineup. Yep, for when we do the read. Cool. Cool. Jersey boy. I can see it now, Mitch. Zachariah Branch rocking the 21 just like his great uncle. That would be sick, dude. You know, his great uncle, for those that don't know, is Cliff Branch, NFL Hall of Fame, Raiders, one of the greatest to ever do it. And the Cliff Branch actually holds a really special spot, like, in my mind, because he was like one of the first old school Raiders players that I kicked myself in the butt for not knowing better. And obviously, when the whole, like, you know, Ruggs, we were drafting a player that a lot of people comped to Cliff Branch. But early on, that was, like, right when Chuggs started. So, I don't know. I remember, like, Chuggs all the time as being like, Cliff Branch. And I would love for Zachariah to also wear 21. Though, I was going to say, I think 21 actually might be open. Am I tripping? Because I know Stokes is wearing 5 now. Okay, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Stokes was 21, but I see 21's open. 21, can you do something for me? You ready? All right, y'all. So the first show is going to be with some Just Win babies. Jason, R.I.P. Cliff. He's in my picture handle, Jason. I mean, again, like, to me, Cliff Branch is like, when I think about old school Al Davis wide receiver, like, that's what I think of. I think of a guy like, good luck trying to catch him, because you ain't going to do it. If you're trying to catch up to Cliff Branch, you might as well just get ready for the kick return, because you ain't catching him. He's gone. He's by you. All right, y'all, let's get into today's show. Here on the Raiders Report, I got some juicy trade rumors and some must-see Raiders draft news coming up right now here on the Raiders Report. Yep. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. We got some juicy trade rumors to talk about on Aidan O'Connell and Colts defensive back Kenny Moore on the program. On top of that, some must-see draft news that each and every one of y'all, if you bleed silver and black, you definitely need to see. All of our Raiders news and rumors today are presented by Prize Picks, and you can get $50 when you play your first $5 lineup over at Prize Picks. Just make sure, if you're watching this video live, you click on that link. Make sure that you also use code HMA. our new sponsor here with Prize Picks. So before we get into all of these rumors, I do want y'all to know that we're going to be doing a special Chat Sports live mock draft on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you find yourself looking for videos every single day covering news, covering rumors, we cover just about everything on this show, analysis. Hit that subscribe button. And then if you're also looking for a channel that's going to be live for all 3 days of the draft, I will be. Probably 24 hours worth of live content on this channel. No excuses. Hit that sub button. So let's go to that very first story here around Aidan O'Connell. And is a potential AOC trade coming before week 1 of the NFL season? I'm going to give this one just win, baby. And I'm going to say it's a small shred of truth, but I do want to be very clear. There are conversations happening right now in that Raiders organization about either keeping or moving on from AOC. Here's what we know. We know that the Raiders signed Kirk Cousins. Everybody knows it. Cousins is going to be that veteran option for Fernando Mendoza, who will be the number 1 overall pick. And the fact that AOC is the quarterback 3 right now on the roster, and he's in that final year of the deal, based on what I understand, the conversations are very much so like, what can we get for Aidan? Does Aidan O'Connell want to be here? And we're trying to figure out the best path moving forward, because I think when you look at the quarterback path, I think it's clearly Kirk Cousins, it's clearly Fernando Mendoza. Aidan O'Connell's been kind of left there on the back burner a little bit, and also, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think you got to be able to follow tea leaves. The Raiders are doing a lot of homework at the quarterback position. I did see it was reported today on social media that the Raiders had a top 30 visit with the Rutgers quarterback. I just want to be very clear. That's not true. There is no top 30 visit with the Rutgers quarterback. They met with him at the NFL Combine. I was able to confirm that before I jumped on this show. But the Raiders, though, they have been doing homework on Illinois quarterback Luke Altmaier, who I look at as a day 3 UDFA option. Baron Morton from Texas Tech's had some injury issues, but he wears the C on his chest, and that's something that this team values. And then also Jacob Clark from Missouri State. Are these players that I think are better than Aidan O'Connell? No, not even in the slightest. But this was an organization last season that drafted Cam Miller, and I do think that these are practice squad options that, because the Raiders are doing their homework, because they have Cousins, because they have Mendoza, they are doing their homework for a reason. So if presented with a trade, you got to be prepared to also know who could help you replace Aidan O'Connell. Here's what is important, though, if he is end up dealt. The Raiders saved $3.7 million. You eat only $127,000 for the 2026 season. If a trade were to happen, I'm just going to say this right now, it's going to be a late day 3 pick. And I don't even know if it's going to be a day 3 pick, in this year's draft. I think you're looking at future drafts, day 3 style, 7th round, 6th round pick. But what's interesting about Aidan is he's played in 21 games. He has started 17 games in his first 3 seasons in the NFL after he was drafted in round 4, I believe 135 of that 2023 NFL draft by Josh McDaniels and company. So to me, when I look at a trade, I think it takes 2 to tango, right? Like, when I bring up Aidan O'Connell trade, everybody thinks that I'm saying the Raiders are trying to trade him. The Raiders are trying to trade him. That's actually not 100% what I'm saying. Am I saying that I could see the Raiders trading AOC? Yes. Yes, I could. And I think a lot of y'all could probably paint that picture in your mind as well of, yeah, I could see the Raiders moving on from AOC. But I wouldn't be shocked if Aidan O'Connell himself, if Aidan O'Connell's agent wanted to be traded. Why? 4th different head coach since he's been in the NFL. 4th. Andrew Janocko will be his 7th offensive coordinator. And that's not even really counting Josh McDaniels, who was the one really calling the plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. But because Aidan has played in 21 games, has started in 17, because we can't act like we haven't seen some good versions of AOC. We have. We have seen some really good versions from Aidan O'Connell. Because of that, I'm telling you right now, there are teams that are interested. There are teams that are sniffing around. Now, when I say that the teams are interested, it's more because they know the situation that the Raiders are in. And if you can get somebody on a yard sale, right now Aidan O'Connell is sitting in that yard sale for the Raiders, and people are smelling, people are looking around. Is it worth for us to go out and get a guy like that? So here's your opportunity to beat John Spytek, the Raiders general manager. And Do you want the Raiders to trade AOC? If you're like, yes, I want the Raiders to move on from number 12, type trade down below. If you want to be an overachiever, shit, man, give me a trade idea you're thinking about. If you're like, no, dude, we got to keep them, we got to rock with them, I could make an argument why we should trade them, and I could make an argument why we should keep them. In fact, I'm going to do exactly just that here in just a moment after this YouTube ad break. The reason why I would trade Aidan is if you could get a 5th-round pick or higher for him, you do the deal in a heartbeat. Like, if there's a team out there willing to offer you a 5th-round pick, you do that trade in a heartbeat. Now, I could also say I would keep him if the plan is to have AOC be Mendoza's backup after this season. I know it's his final year on his contract, but I also think the way that Fernando Mendoza operates, having a backup quarterback like Aidan O'Connell makes a ton of sense. And he's still, he's a damn good backup quarterback. The other thing, though, that I would say in terms of trade is if you're going to give me a late day 3 pick, right, like a late day 3 pick, the other reason why I would say trade is because you save $3.7 million. Can we use that $3.7 million to go out and get another potential starter, to go out and get another player that maybe he's not a starter, but will help this team win football games, whether that be offense, defense, or special teams? In terms of the top teams that I think could make a deal for Aidan O'Connell, I'll tell you straight up right now, the New England Patriots are a team that's been doing their homework on AOC. The Detroit Lions are number 2 on this list, in my opinion. This is a my opinion list. But the only team that I know for a fact that has done their homework on Aidan O'Connell is the New England Patriots. Now, does that surprise me? No, not really. I also asked about the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, they have Dave Ziegler, not any interest there. The Lions are looking. The Colts, the Steelers are teams that I could see. But I'm looking at all of you that are watching this show right now. If a team trades for Aidan O'Connell, it will be Josh McDaniels, and it will be the New England Patriots to make AOC the new backup to Drake May, because they got Drake May and then they got Tommy Cutlets. Aidan O'Connell is better than Tommy Cutlets, and because Josh McDaniels is the guy that drafted him, because AOC, his quarterback coach growing up, very close to Josh McDaniels, if a trade were to happen, it would be to New England. Is it impossible? No. Is it likely? I gave it one just win, baby, for a reason. Let's go to the next story here coming up on the Raiders Report. And are the Raiders considering drafting a running back on day 3 of the 2026 NFL Draft? I'll tell you this story here in just a moment, but today's show is made possible with our sponsor, Prize Picks, man. I'm telling you this right now, I love the fact that these guys are rocking with us because I love playing Prize Picks. I think anybody that watches the show knows that I love Prize Picks, and I can't wait to show you guys my lineup, especially if you're a Mets fan or a Dodgers fan out there. So the playoffs are here for basketball. Baseball is underway, and it's time to cash in with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports pick app and is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Sign up for Prize Picks with code HMA and get $50 in lineups instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get your picks right, you can cash in. Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Also, new follow feature. You can follow me on the app. I am at Mitchell Renz 365 to see all of my lineups. Prize Picks has a feature that allows you to follow your friends and others on the app like you would any social media platform. So my lineup that I'm rocking with today, for those of you that don't know, I am a Mets fan. And because a lot of y'all are A's fans, you guys kick the crap out of us. The Dodgers are doing the exact same thing. Here's my lineup. I'm going to go with LaMelo Ball. Give me the more on 17.5 points. He's done this in 5 straight games, so I feel good about that one. But also, I'm going to watch the Mets. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm watching the Mets. And since I'm watching that game, I went with the more on 5.5 Ks for Nolan McClellan. He's had 8 strikeouts his last start. On top of that, Dodgers are 12th in baseball with strikeouts this season. And then I went with Shohei Ohtani, the more on a hit. He didn't have a hit yesterday, and he's had 4 hits in his last 4 games. So anytime I watch baseball, I watch Shohei Ohtani. He's absolutely must watch. So if you want to roll with that lineup, you can actually add me as a friend on Prize Picks at Mitchell Renz 365. So download the Prize Picks app today with the link in the comments and in the description. Use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. And you know what? I'm going to be right in this statement right here. For just win, babies, the Las Vegas Raiders are 100% going to be drafting a running back on day 3. For just win, babies. I'm telling you that right now. The reason why I say that is because the Raiders have been doing some homework on those day 3 running backs. On top of that, I'm also just being honest with you. There is no running backs that we should draft on day 1, Fernando Mendoza. Day 2 at pick 36, pick 67. That doesn't make any sense because we have other needs. We have Ashton Jeanty. But then also on top of that, you got 8 picks on day 3. So because I know that the Raiders have been sniffing around the running back room, look at Najee Harris. He obviously hasn't been signed. But Clint Kubiak made it very clear that he wants a wingman to Jeanty. And if this is a team that wants to be able to go out and get another running back, hell, I think you got to get 2. I think you got to help not only get a replacement for Raheem Mostert, I think you got to be able to go out and get a replacement also for Zamir White. But the Raiders have, I think I wrote 7, but no, they do. They have 7 picks on day 3. 102, 117, 134, those are your 4ths, right? 175 is round 5. 2 in the 6th at 185, 208, and then that 7th round pick at 219. But today I am recording this video, and Indiana running back Kaleon Black is actually at the Raiders facility on a top 30 visit with the Silver and Black. He's also the only running back that the Raiders are bringing in for a top 30 visit at the time that I'm recording this video. And when you guys watch this show, and I hope that you check out every video that I do, but one of the videos that I actually put out recently was my top running back prospects for the Raiders in 2026. Spoiler alert, every single one of those backs is a day 3 guy. You can see Kaleon Black there on the thumbnail, as long as also here with Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. This link will be down in the comments. It will be down in the description of today's program if anybody wants to go out there and check that out. But because the Raiders need a wingman for Jeanty, because you're looking for a replacement for Raheem Mostert, Zamir White, because they've shown interest in Najee Harris, and because the running backs in this year's class, I like the depth, especially on day 3. I promise you when I say this, the Raiders will be drafting a running back in the 2026 NFL Draft. I got one more story coming up here, and it's going to be around Colts defensive back Kenny Moore, who recently requested a trade to make sure that you never get traded. Get yourself a Raiders Report shirt. Now, chatsports.com/RR shop. Whether you're looking for a little Mendoza action, whether you think that, like me, we're freaking Kubiak, and I love the position that this team is in. If you get yourself a Raiders Report hat, a Raiders Report shirt, I promise you, I want y'all to send me photos. And the number one thing that I've loved that fans have been doing, tag me on IG, tag me on Twitter. The best way to do it is truthfully Instagram, because that way I can actually get the photo. It's easier for me. But if you want to get featured on some future shows, don't be afraid to send me a photo. I recently got this one, and, to me, it puts a big smile on my face when I see new photos from Raiders Report watchers, and I only say that because I want all of y'all, at the end of the day, to rock this gear, not because it honestly, of course it helps us out from a monetary standpoint, but, I want you honestly to rock this gear because I was talking to Rebel Montana before this show started, and he was like, dude, I was rocking a Raiders Report shirt, and somebody came up to me and somebody said hello. So when you guys do that type of stuff, it, of course, means, and I mean this, a lot to me. And as you can see, we got all different shapes, all different sizes. I told you, Richard, I was going to have that photo for you. But, the last one, it was that was a photo that I found, during, my birthday weekend. So I see the photos you guys are posting. I'm going to keep showing them here on this show because you guys are the reason why we're making all this merch. Because, again, I want to continue to grow this family here on this program. Let's go to the final story on this program. And it's around Kenny Moore and whether or not the Raiders could potentially trade for the Colts cornerback. And I know Kenny Moore has been a name that's been given to me a few times, and I'm probably going to say this very similar to the way that I did it with Dexter Lawrence. If I'm not talking about a topic, it's because I don't think it's necessarily important enough. But if I get enough people over and over and over and over again that keep on asking me about a certain topic, then yes, I am going to discuss it. So is Kenny Moore going to get traded to the Las Vegas Raiders? I'm going to say tuck rule, tuck that. It's not happening. Point blank period. The Raiders will not be the team that makes the deal for Kenny Moore. The reason why that I say that is because yes, I understand that the Raiders have a need in that secondary. I know it. You know it. We do. We still have a need in that secondary. But if there's been a spot that the Raiders have kind of already addressed, it's been corner with Eric Stokes, and it's also been trading for Taron Johnson, which they did before free agency. Now, Schefter reported this again. This is back on April 10th. I'm not saying that this is a new report that Kenny Moore wants to be dealt, but when I continuously get asked certain things, it's when I talk about it on this program. And Kenny Moore, team captain, jokingly, when I went to the NFL Combine with all the Chat Sports guys, we looked up at Lucas Oil Stadium, and I remember because Marshall said it, and they go, man, that's awkward. And I remember being like, what's awkward? And he goes, well, the Colts are probably going to move on from Kenny Moore. And I think that this is a story that a lot of us knew deep down, but he's like, oh, they're going to have to take down that banner of Kenny Moore off Lucas Oil Stadium. I don't even know if they've done it yet, but I remember I saw 23, and the reason why he was up there is because he's been a good player for this organization. He's been a part of the Colts, I want to say, since he was a UDFA. I want to say he's been there since 2019, off the top of my noggin. 2017. So he was a UDFA in 2017. He was claimed by the Patriots, but he was then claimed again by the Colts, and that's where he's been. He was a Pro Bowler in 2021, but some of you might be going, all right, so he was a former Pro Bowler. He's played in a lot of games, helps out in the secondary. Why would the Raiders be a team that's not interested? And the reason why it wouldn't happen is because, again, Taron Johnson, Eric Stokes, the Raiders are confident in that regard, and Kenny, he's more of that nickel corner. We already traded for Taron Johnson. We already traded for that nickel. Now, do I think that Kenny Moore is a better player than Taron Johnson? It's at least up for debate, no doubt about it. But I will say I talked to somebody from our Colts team here at Chat Sports, and they said if it would be a trade, it would likely be a late-round pick swap. So, again, you're probably exactly what the Raiders trade looked like with Taron Johnson. You're just swapping a 6th and a 7th because you're really just trying to take on some of that contract. But the Raiders will not be the team that ends up making this trade. So the deals, the rumors that we're talking about here on the program today, Aidan O'Connell trade coming. I think that there's a 25% chance that Aidan is not on this team week 1 of the regular season because the Raiders are currently having conversations about him, but it's also because I wouldn't be shocked if Aidan wanted to get a brand new start somewhere else. The Raiders will be drafting a running back on day 3. Lock it in. I don't know what round it's going to be. If I had to guess, I'd probably guess in round 6, round 7 is where they're going to be looking. And then Kenny Moore, not going to be trading for him. It's not going to be happening. If you enjoyed today's show and you made it this far in the program, hey, hope you're already subscribed. Hopefully you always tune in. And again, friendly reminder, we're going to be doing a special live show this Thursday for a Raiders mock draft here at Chat Sports. It's going to be a live mock draft. And then also this Friday, Bayou Raider. I think he's getting into Mount Raider more. But I do know for a fact, this Friday's happy hour show probably going to be crazier than last week's, which I don't even know how that's humanly possible. All right, y'all, today's deals here on the program, if you don't already know, Super Chat to get up on screen, $20 Venmo to get in the duck race. Second place in our duck race, you get in our mock draft, and then $100 to get in for the bang. So far, the only bang today belongs to Bayou Raider. What's going on, man? What's going on? 2K says, geez, that's a lot of ads. Is it like YouTube ads or is it like us talking about Prize Picks or us talking about shirts? At the end of the day, I want to be able to provide, as much great content for you guys as humanly possible. And if it's too much ads on YouTube, I'll try to look in the back end of it, but I don't have any control on any of that stuff. I just want y'all to know. But I saw your comment, so I was like, oh, at the end of the day, I'm curious what you have to say. If you are trying to get in our duck race, scan that QR code. It's a 50-50 raffle. If you've never been in it, then please let me know. Sean, I got you. Sean Morgan, Richard Engel, and then Simon TG are all in. 20 to win. $100 as it stands right now. Oh, okay. I'll try to look into it on the back end after this live show because I know sometimes like YouTube is in control of all that, and YouTube's been, again, I love the platform. I love the fact that I get to do what I do, but YouTube over the past month has been, dude, it's been bad. I don't know what the hell's going on there. It's been wild. So I'll look into it. My opinion. Yep. Sometimes they pop up from Kurt. Yeah, I mean, it's also going to depend on, like, certain people, so it's totally random, and that's kind of the hard part about it. What up, Jeremy Gerds? Sherlock, where are we going? Okay. Sherlock, appreciate you, man. Again, if you got a question, don't be afraid. Holla at your boy. Gerds, who at 36, if this is left? Defensive tackle Christen Miller, he'll be there. Cornerback Pons will be there. Wide receiver Chris Bell, he'll be there. I mean, out of all those, you only named one guy that I don't think will be there, and that's Emmanuel McNeil Warren, safety from Toledo. I'll tell you this right now, he ain't getting out of the round one. There's no way in hell he's getting out of round one. I forget which team is really high on him, and I'm really killing myself that I can't think of which team it was. But in our Chat Sports draft notes that we have, there's one team in round one that is falling in love with him, and, like, he's not going to get out of round one. But if all those guys are available, I mean, I sprint up to the podium and I draft Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Because, Miller is not a top 40 prospect for me. Pons is, but not for the Raiders. Again, I love D'Angelo Pons. I just don't see that happening. I like Chris Bell, but he's not a top 50 prospect for me. But Bisontis, he's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, you put him next to JPJ. You put him next to, well, he wouldn't be next to JPJ. I'm saying, like, if it was JPJ, freaking Tyler Linderbaum, and Bisontis, that's your interior, they're going to move some people. They're going to freaking move some people. So, Parker, though, is also a very interesting player. And then C.J. Allen is a linebacker that I love, another Georgia guy. But, like, if you draft C.J. Allen, what does that mean then for either A, Quay Walker, or Nakobe Dean? Because you're not going to start three of those guys. So I don't think it would be that route. Cesar Lorenzo, what's going on, my dude? And again, if you want to get your questions, comments up here on the show, Super Chat or use hashtag Raiders. Does it make sense to trade Michael Mayer before he's due an extension? I think everything comes down to what do you think you could potentially get for him? I'll say I really want to roll with Michael Mayer this season, and I really want to see how the Raiders use their two tight end offense. I really want to see how the Raiders can implement a solid 12 personnel. I think also because the Raiders want to run 13 personnel, and I'm like, they're going to run a lot of 13 personnel. The Rams did it a lot last season. That's the other reason why you're probably not going to move on from a guy like Michael Mayer. But, I mean, if a team offered a third-round pick for him, then sure, I would take that deal. But you're not going to get a third-round pick for Michael Mayer. Like, I think right now, if you traded him, it's for like a fourth, fifth-round pick. And I don't like that value because I do think Mayer is a good player. It's just he unfortunately has been behind Brock Bowers. And unfortunately, we haven't had good quarterback play, haven't had good head coaching, haven't good offensive coordinator play. So when you're the tight end, too, on a team that hasn't had those things that have been good, makes his job a lot more difficult. But Clint Kubiak, this offense, getting it going in the right direction. I am team, let's hang on to Michael Mayer. But also at the exact same time, Brock Bowers is going to be getting a fat deal next offseason. I don't know what it's going to look like, but he's going to get a brand new deal after next offseason, Brock Bowers, and he's going to be the highest paid tight end in the National Football League. That's not a crazy statement, and everybody here knows that it's going to happen. Stabler, what's going on, dude? Mitch, any free agent signings just before the draft or just after? So I actually put out a video, Stabler, I believe it was yesterday, and it's around a report from Adam Schefter, and he's essentially saying that he's been hearing that there could be some veteran wide receivers that sign before the NFL draft. And I said that report is a very important one for Raiders fans because obviously we're doing a lot of homework at that wide receiver position. To me personally, I am team, let's not sign any free agents until after the draft because we are in rebuild mode. So, like, in my mind, if you're a team that's in rebuild mode, and I still want to compete, but I still think that we also need to be able to rebuild. So how can we address some of those positions that we need in the draft? You put your best foot forward and you try to do it. If it's up to me, we might have to spend a little bit more money after the draft, but I'd rather a veteran free agent signing be to fill a hole that we missed on in the draft instead of us, let's say, I don't know, signing, let's say, Juwan Jennings, right? Let's say we go out and we sign Juwan Jennings and Denzel Boston is sitting there looking at us at 36, but we're not going to go that route, and we decide to take a lesser of a player. I am team, let's wait until after the draft, unless there is a situation where it's almost too good to be true. But, like, I would say the only player that I would honestly consider signing right now before free agency is probably like a guy like DJ Reader, a big veteran defensive tackle that's going to be able to eat up in the middle. And again, like that probably takes you out of the equation for a guy like Kayden McDonald, who I do really like. But I think DJ Reader, veterans at that defensive tackle position, have shown you that they can make it work for a little bit longer. And then you look to pick out some other players there. But I'm team wait until after the draft. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but that's how I would do it if I was the one calling the shots here for the Raiders. Stabler, I appreciate you. I see somebody asking me, Simon, yes, I did get you in. Gabriel, Adam, I got you. And then Marcus Contreras, I got you in the duck race as well. Reminder, first place, you're going to go home with $120. The more people we get in, bigger that pot gets. If you come in second place, you're going to get in our Raiders Report mock draft. Kika, Mitch, thank you for sending the video. Oh, man, to my fiance, I appreciate the fast response. She was surprised you reached out so soon. Can't thank you enough for everything and all you do for Raider Nation. So this is kind of a really cool story, Kika. And so first off, I saw that your fiance, which congratulations to y'all. You guys are getting married on May 9th. And I waited until April 9th to send the video. And I only did that because, dude, like getting married, it's such a cool experience. Like you get to bring like your whole families together. Truly, like, don't get me wrong, your wife's going to be your wife's, Batman. You might not even be Robin, right? You're probably the Riddler. But it's like such a cool experience. It's the greatest weekend of my life. And I remember like counting down that month. Like if there's one thing I got to give my wife a lot of credit for, it's every the 6th. So we got married on June 6th. So May 6th, April 6th, like every 6th, we would, just like go out for like a little dinner. Sometimes we just go get ice cream, go watch a movie or whatever. But what's funny about this is I didn't want to not forget, but I wanted to make sure that I did this video, and I wanted to make sure that I, did it in a timely manner. So I pinned your wife's message in my DMs, and there was like one random day, like I gave my phone to Alex, and she was like showing me some like videos on my Instagram, but she saw the fact that I had another woman pinned in my DMs, and she clicked on it, obviously. And she, like, you should have saw the smile she had on her face. Again, like, I think my job is a little different than a lot of other people's jobs. She obviously loves and appreciates Raider Nation. But, like, for me, I get, guys that'll, like, DM me stuff all the time. When I get wives, significant others, your case, your fiance, to do it, that's like a whole nother level of, like, I do really appreciate that type of stuff. So, shout out, you're marrying clearly somebody that, knows you very well. She says you watch the show all the time, but, I think at the end of the day, like, you got to marry somebody that, loves you for who you are, and even if that's you're a Raider fan, tell you what, though, being a Raider fan, she knows you're a loyal person. So, thank you for this message. You didn't have to do that. And to Kika, to that entire, family, good luck on your wedding, May 9th. I hope I get some pictures because I'm going to be looking for them. Sammy, what up, Sammy? I want Omar Cooper Jr., what about you? I love Omar. I talked to Omar Cooper Jr. at the Combine for like 5 to 10 minutes, and it was truly like one of the coolest, probably like one of the coolest like conversations I had with just like a player that I knew was about to be in the NFL, because he was cool, calm, and collected. Like, you want to talk about, like, the way that Jacoby Myers used to act and operate is very similar to like the vibe that I got from Omar Cooper Jr., and the only problem is he's not going to get out of round 1. So if you're the Raiders, based on some of the information that we've received, you're going to have to give up, I would say, your first-round pick next year to go up and get him. I ain't going to do that. So as much as I would like to get him, I don't see him getting out of the top 25. I believe the team that likes him a lot is the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think that he's going to be their A.J. Brown replacement, just based on some of the things that I've heard. But I like Omar. He's not going to be there at 36. I promise you that. Like, I actually talked to somebody close to Omar, and the one source that I talked, this is probably like 2 weeks ago, said that Omar, obviously would love to play with Fernando, but also Omar Cooper Jr., like himself, said, like, I'm not going to get out of round 1. And I don't remember where that report was, because then I sent it to my one buddy, and he was like, yeah, like, he's not getting out of round 1. And Omar knows he's not getting out of round 1. The Woo Man. Malik Muhammad or Bud Clark, thank you for all that you do, Mitch. I love this question here. I think both of these prospects are two prospects that I absolutely positively love. I'm going to say Bud Clark because that's a bigger need at free safety. He was my 4th rated safety prospect that I wanted the Raiders to target in this year's draft. But in the same breath, I love Malik Muhammad. Truly, I think Malik Muhammad is an outstanding, versatile chess piece that you're going to be able to use in the secondary, that you're going to be able to potentially even get on day 3. But for Bud Clark, I mean, the ball skills are off the chart. 15 interceptions over the past 4 years. You can see the instincts, no doubt about it. And he's not afraid to come up and make some plays on top of that. He has allowed some big plays at TCU, but I also think it's because they were asking him to kind of play up and play back at the same time, which was kind of a difficult thing. He's got a lot of years of college football experience. And then you got Malik Muhammad, who very different style of player. He's long, he's lanky, he's physical, he jams guys. He does miss a lot of tackles, but I also will say we already not have him the same version of Darian Porter. But Malik Muhammad, if we wouldn't have gone out and if we wouldn't have signed Eric Stokes, let's just say Eric Stokes isn't on this team, that's where I think that this conversation becomes a little bit more interesting. But if it's Bud Clark and Malik Muhammad, I'm taking Bud Clark, and I'm not really thinking twice about it. But fits a need. He's probably higher on my big board overall, but they're both very close. Both of these guys are dudes that I would love, and I'm hoping and praying that they're available at 102, 117, somewhere in that regard. So hopefully that helps. We do have one more segment that we got to be able to get into today on the program. We are all caught up on all of the Super Chats, and we got 463 people here watching the show right now. Yet I'm looking down at the numbers, only 269 likes. I think we can do a better job. I say that, and I know some people are probably going to get upset when I say it, but I say it because, I look at it as, if I was sitting down with a group of people, and I don't know, if I had something in my teeth, I would want you to tell me that I got something in my teeth. This is the show. Obviously, is how I provide for my family. Hitting a like button's a free thing that you can do. If you can do it, I would really greatly appreciate it, believe it or not. LA Crash Dog, Loyal, Raider Dad, Yoda Jenkins, Kevin Surfa, all here in the building. Who's ready to get into our mock draft here on the show? If you're ready to rock out with your mock out, tell me. No, I'm not going to do that. How big is your mock? How about we just spam mock? That's probably the safest thing that I can do. I mean, I'll tell you this right now. I've done some interesting mocks. I've done some trading. Not proud of it. As excited as I get every time I draft Mendoza, I don't know. A lot of shirt cocking going on. Lot of shirt cocking going on. Yoda's ready to rock out with his mock out.
Hey, put that mock away, Yoda.
We got Bad Patron. I mean, as soon as I saw Patron in, you're definitely rocking out with your mock out. Richard Black mocking it out. My opinion. Lord Cameron, Mock, Mike J. Raider, Arbora, Seth, all ready to rock out with their mock out. I did say
Send us your mock picks. Send Mitch your mock picks on Instagram.
DM me your mock. Have you ever sent a mock pick? That's actually hilarious. Only mocks. I saw somebody say they were going to compare it to another content creator.
We're comparing mocks too.
We're comparing. I'll tell you this: if we're comparing it to
mock off,
I don't know. I don't know if I can compare with Wasted. No, I will say this. In a serious tone, the mock that I'm about to do is going to be completely different than any one that I've ever done before. This one took me a long time. I'm going to be clear. It took me a lot of failed attempts because I wanted to try to get something that I've never done before. So because I've never been able to do this before, I had to start and restart. I'm not going to lie to you a few different times, but what I tried to do is, because again, this is like my 10th different mock draft, I tried to get you a mock that was different. So you guys will understand what I'm talking about here in just a moment. Rebel, I'll mock my attachments. Perfect.
This mock is hanging a little bit to the right.
Really? See, mine mock hangs a little bit to the left. It's crazy.
Oh, you're a left-hanging mock guy?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. So, it is what it is, man.
So coming up in Raiders Report, the biggest, longest uncut mock that you've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. It's got some girth. It's got some girth. All right, y'all. You ready to rock? I hope the answer to that is yes. After I get done with this mock draft, reminder, we will do a 50-50 raffle. If you come in first place, right now you're going to be going home with $130. Germie Valve, you're in. And then if you come in second place, you're actually going to be able to join our Raiders mock draft. And I will be in contact with you over the weekend. You're going to get to be able to make the pick for round 6, 208 in our mock. Haven't heard much about the O-line. Do we draft one, sign one, or is Kubiak satisfied with what we have? Truly, this is I still think that we could add another offensive lineman this offseason, but truthfully, I think the Raiders are a lot more confident in their O-line than what like the national media is giving off. Like for Kubiak and Spytek to both say that they like Kolton Miller, DJ Glaze, and Charles Grant, that's like very telling to me. They also brought in Spencer Burford, who that might not be a name that resonates too much to Raiders fans, but like what they paid Spencer Burford is very similar to like what they re-signed Jordan Meredith with, and Burford was with Clint Kubiak in 2023 with the San Francisco 49ers, and he played 820 snaps, I want to say, at right guard, so like that guy matters. Caleb Rogers is a third-round pick. You got JPJ, he's going to play guard. You signed Tyler Linderbaum. I do actually think the Raiders are a lot more confident in that offensive line, but also at the exact same time, if there's value to be had, I think that you bring in value. I don't really think the Raiders are going to sign an offensive lineman. I don't really think the Raiders are going to trade for one, but there's a chance that you could draft one. And I'll tell you this, I'm drafting an offensive lineman today in my mock draft. Sherlock Raiders! Sherlock! I'll tell you what, man, I've been seeing you a lot here on Tuesdays, and I hope that you keep bringing the energy, because when you bring the energy, believe it or not, it wakes me up as well. Stephon Diggs is a good leader. I don't know who's saying that. If you're saying Stephon Diggs is a good leader, I'll say it like this. Would you let Stephon Diggs date your daughter? No. Like one of the most telling clips of Stephon Diggs, I don't know if you ever saw it. I think it was the Vikings. Like it was either the Vikings. I think it was the Vikings.
Yeah.
And like they go around to like the players, and they're like, "Who's the last player you would ever let date?" I think it was your sister. It was sister or daughter. I think it was sister. And I'm not kidding you. It was like 80% of the guys were like, yeah, I'd never let Stephon Diggs.
Spin Zone, what if they didn't want Stephon Diggs dating their sister because of how it would affect the team? Maybe they know something about their sister.
Coming up on the Raiders Report.
It makes you think.
It's mock draft time. Mock draft time. If Stephon Diggs hands you something in a bag and it's pink, do not take it.
And do not give it to your sister.
Do not give it to your sister. Do not take it. Do not do that. All right, you guys ready? I'm going to get in trouble here. We're going to be doing a 7-round mock draft, but it's got a little bit of a twist. It's got a little bit of a twist. You ready to go? Y'all ready to go? All right, coming up, let's get into this Raiders. Let me just make sure I'm in the right spot. This, by the way, is going to be my season long. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Coming up, mock draft time here on the Raiders Report. This Raiders mock draft is presented by Prize Picks, and we're doing a totally different mock. And if you like to rock out with your mock out, you're going to love what I got coming up for you today. We did a full 7-round draft done on PFF Draft Simulator. I will say this, though. Every single pick that I make today is with a player that the Raiders have held a top 30 visit with. This was a little bit of a challenge to be able to get a mock where it features only players that we've had top 30 visits with, but I was able to accomplish it. And the reason why I want to be able to do this is because the Raiders drafted 4 players last year that they held top 30 visits with, and obviously when you do mock drafts, there's a lot of guessing, there's a lot of projections. Here's one thing that I know, that the Raiders are interested in every single player that is featured in my mock draft today. If you want to hang out with me and the Chat Sports team, we will be live this Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm probably going to be live close to 3 hours. We're doing a Chat Sports mock draft. I'm making the picks for Raiders. Our guy Marshall's making the picks for the Giants. Chase is making the picks for the Niners. Harrison's making the picks for the Bears. We did this last year, and it was a huge success, and I love being able to show all of y'all all of our draft content that we're able to provide. I will be doing a Raiders Report mock draft with fans on Monday, 4/20. I have high hopes for that one. And then my final mock draft will be dropping the morning before the actual NFL draft. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're looking for extra draft content, we're providing a ton leading up to the 2026 NFL Draft. So if you do not know what picks the Silver and Black have, here they are up on your screen. We got round 1, pick number 1. I don't know if you knew that. Round 2, 36. Round 3, 67. Those are your day 2 picks. And then your day 3 picks. You got 3 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and then to round out this bad boy, 219. So the way that I have done this mock is only with players that we have had top 30 visits with. Spoiler alert, I have gone with Fernando Mendoza at number 1 overall. And our notes that you're going to be seeing are scouting report notes from our NFL draft analyst, Tom Downey, instead of just my notes that I provide. Prototypical frame, great leadership traits, mechanically sound, accurate, able to layer his throws between all levels. Won't be as much of a threat when he's forced to extend the play is the notes from Tom. Here's the one thing that I love down there below. 48 total touchdowns, 6 interceptions. This is a player that when it mattered the most in the college football playoffs, he showed up and he showed out. I have made I don't know how many videos on this guy, and I'll tell you this right now. I'm like running out of brand new things that I can say about him. What I can say with confidence is I fully respect and I am fully behind Fernando in his decision, staying home for the draft, being with his mother, being with his grandparents. I am under the impression that those 3 people that I just mentioned are the biggest reason why he is staying in Miami and his home to be that number 1 pick, first time since 2021 with Trevor Lawrence. But quarterback's our biggest need. Even with the signing of Kirk Cousins, Fernando Mendoza, he was in the Raiders facility April 7th when we started our off-season program. He's already been working with Brian Griese. He will be the number 1 overall pick. Let's go to round 2. Pick number 36 here in my mock draft. And I don't know if you guys hear that. If it sounds like a siren, it's because we got some breaking news. The Raiders have just done a trade in my mock draft. If you're watching this live, no, it's not a real breaking news trade. In this mock draft, we are doing a trade, and the trade that was presented to me was this one from the Philadelphia Eagles. We know that Howie Roseman is always willing to wheel and deal. Philadelphia also has another 3rd-round pick. I believe it's at pick 98, so maybe they'd be willing to trade up here, which they clearly did. In this mock, I liked some of the options at 36, like Boston wasn't available, Kayden McDonald wasn't available. I remember I was really debating between a few different players. So I said, all right, I'll look at the trades, and I like this one. So I get 54, which I don't, you got to move back a little bit. But being able to swap 175 for 68, I thought was good overall value for the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you want to let me know who you think won this deal, give me an LV, give me a PHI for the Eagles. Here is the player that I ended up going with here, though, at pick number 54. I went with Texas A&M guard Chase Bisontis. And depending on who you talk to around the NFL, there's some people that think Bisontis could actually be a round 1 guy. I think he's probably going to end up going somewhere in this 40 range. And I have been very clear in my assessment of I don't see the Raiders drafting an offensive lineman, because I've said it so many different times on this show. I don't see the Raiders drafting an offensive lineman at 36. But sometimes you got to get to a point where the value is just so clear. And if Chase Bisontis is available at 54 and you got that pick, I think you got to entertain the idea. Multi-year starter with good frame, solid movement. Tom loves his hand usage. If he's able to grip onto players, giggity, gets himself into issues with leverage and length problems. But what I love about Bisontis is you got to talk about the fit. And you got to talk about a Clint Kubiak mentality. Because at 6'5", 315 pounds, if you put JPJ, Tyler Linderbaum, and Chase Bisontis on the interior of your offensive line, you're going to be a hell of a running football team. Point blank, period. You're going to be able to run the football with Ashton Genty. You're going to have a great O-line. And I know, I think the Raiders are a lot more confident in their O-line than what the national media, I think I've said that 100 times in the last week. But this was a value pick that I said, This is an investment in Ashton Jeanty. It's an investment in Fernando Mendoza. It's an investment in Clint Kubiak. And if you want to have a legit potential top 10 interior offensive line that you can build with and go forward with, I think it's an extremely interesting pick overall. So that's why I decided to go with Chase Bisontis. So drop some names down below for me, and this will be the pinned comment on today's show. Who is one player, not named Fernando Mendoza, that you think the Raiders end up drafting in 2026? You're about to get into that YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, give me your answer, because my answer is actually the player that I ended up taking here in round 3 at pick 67 in this mock draft. So let's get this thing going. At pick number 67 in round 3, I think the player that I think is the most likely to be drafted by the Raiders, and again, this is just a projection, it's just my guess, I'm going to go with Georgia wide receiver Zachariah Branch. And I've just looked down at the comments. My opinion goes, Branch is next. And you're right, he is next. But it's because they've had an NFL Combine meeting with him. They went to his pro day at Georgia. They also had a top 30 visit with him. Small frame, tested great for his size. Does need to implement that route tree a little bit, but because pre-snap motion is really important in Kubiak's offense, this also could be a potential replacement for a player along the lines of Trey Tucker. But if you want to add speed, offers after the catch ability, I think also like taking a screen and being able to run, get north and south with it is extremely important. Zachariah Branch is from Las Vegas. His great uncle is Cliff Branch, Raiders legend, NFL Hall of Fame wide receiver. But receiver is a really big need, no doubt about it. And I've thought about like multiple different areas where I could go here, because I'm like, man, I went quarterback, offensive line, and then I ended up going with wide receiver. But when you look at this stat here that I have for you, out of the top 30 visits the Raiders drafted in 2025, Jeanty, Rodgers, Grant, Cam Miller. In terms of when you see this asterisk right here, the asterisk means that they held a NFL Combine meeting, a formal Combine meeting. They held a top 30 visit, and they went to that pro day. I know that the Raiders do value all those styles of things, and I know I probably say this all the time. You guys are going to troll me at home, but like where there's smoke, there's fire. There is a lot of smoke right now around Zachariah Branch and the Las Vegas Raiders, and it's very mutual. So because I went the route that I did, I decided to go with Zachariah Branch, but obviously the Raiders have held a lot of top 30 visits with wide receivers. So if you remember, I made that trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, so I actually have another pick right now at round 3, pick 68 coming up here, and this was one that I kind of battled with. I'll admit I didn't love this from like my own personal perspective, but I think the other thing that you have to do when you mock drafts is sometimes, Mitchell Renz isn't going to be making the actual Raiders draft. So because this is only top 30 visits, I thought, who could this potentially be? So the name that I thought made the most sense in this area on a top 30 visit is Daylen Everette, cornerback from Georgia. He's experienced. He's tough in both defensive phases, which I do think is really important if you're trying to add extra players to the secondary. Good size, willing to run defend, can be effective in terms of getting pressure against the quarterback, is a little bit grabby, needs to close on wide receivers with more urgency. But Georgia is clearly a program that this Raiders organization values, right? Eric Stokes, Georgia cornerback. Quay Walker and Kobe Dean, Georgia linebackers. They come from the Georgia system. But when you come from that Georgia system, I think you know how to become part of a team. You learn how to become part of a system. Would I take Daylen Everette at pick 68 here? Probably not. There were other players in this mock draft that I thought about going with it. But is he a good player? Yes, the Raiders are really excited about him at the pro day at the Senior Bowl, and he was a outstanding athlete. If you're concerned about Darian Porter, you're going to love this pick in Daylen Everette, because I am a little bit concerned about Porter, and I am a little bit concerned about this secondary. But Daylen Everette, Darian Porter competition, let the best guy survive. That's pretty interesting there at pick number 68. Let's go now to round 4, pick 102 in my Prize Picks mock draft featuring only top 30 visit players. Before I get into this pick 102 on day 3, I do got to tell you about our awesome sponsor, Prize Picks. And I promise y'all this right now, you're going to be hearing me talk a lot about Prize Picks, because we always talk about real ones showing up and showing out. Prize Picks about to be showing up and showing out every single day here on the Raiders Report. So today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. The playoffs are here for basketball. Baseball is underway, and it's time to cash in with Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. Sign up for Prize Picks with code HMA. I'm going to say it again, in case you weren't paying attention. HMA, and get $50 in lineups instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. It's available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. And also, they got this brand new feature where you can actually follow me on the app at Mitchell Renz 365 to see all of my lineups. They also have a feature that allows you to follow your friends, others on the app like you would any social media platform. So what I wanted to be able to show all of y'all today is I did a season-long lineup on Prize Picks, and the reason why you see Josh Allen is because you have to pick another player from another team. I can't just do a season-long Raiders lineup. I did try, and then I was like, I got to add somebody else in here. So the reason why I went this route is, Bowers had 1,194 yards as a rookie, 680 last season, and that was even with a terrible quarterback play, played in only 12 games. I expect more from Brock Bowers, 849. For Ashton Genty, 5 rushing touchdowns. He had 5 last season. I need more for 5.5. I expect this offense to be better. I expect the offensive line to be better. I expect more opportunities for our running back, Max Crosby. Crosby, I do think, is going to be on a revenge tour, and he's had back-to-back years where he's had less than 11.25 sacks. But you know what? Sometimes I think when you play Prize Picks, it's about having a good time, and I'm rooting for the Condor. I'm rooting for 98 to show Baltimore, to show everybody that, yeah, man, I still got a lot left in the tank, and I'm hoping with this defense that we have now, it's the best defense that Max has ever been on. I think a lot more of those opportunities are going to be there for the sacks. And then, Josh Allen, the more here, I was shocked on. 6 straight years he's had more than 3,400 passing yards. If this happens, this is a $10 lineup. I did a power play to win $100 on Prize Picks. So if you want to roll with that lineup, give me a follow at Mitchell Renz 365. Download the Prize Picks app today with the link that's going to be in the comments and in the description. Use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Let's keep it moving. Round 4, 102 in our Prize Pick mock draft. And I'm going to go with another wide receiver here. And I went with a guy that's a little bit undersized in Zachariah Branch. So give me somebody that's got a little bit more size to him. And I'm going to go with Georgia State wide receiver Ted Hurst. One of the most interesting prospects in this year's draft is Ted Hurst because he is a big play threat. He makes guys miss. He wins the contested catches. But again, is that small school or is he really, truly great? He has improved from last season, forcing more missed tackles. There's no doubt there's going to be a jump in competition, but when you've seen him go up against NFL caliber, college caliber competition, whether that be the Senior Bowl or what have you, he has shown up and he has shown out. And at 6'3", 185, adding a receiver like him and adding a guy like Zachariah Branch to our already young receiver group might make some people a little bit concerned. But the reason why I'm a little bit less concerned about it is because I just believe so much in Brock Bowers. I believe so much in Michael Mayer. And with that pick and chase Bisontis, I'm very confident that we're going to be able to run the football effectively. But 71 grabs, over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. Hurst's upside, it's really, really high. And I don't know, I actually think I can make the argument that Ted Hurst's upside is higher than Zachariah Branch's. But Branch's floor seems to be like one of the safest floors in this year's class at the wide receiver position. So I tried to go with a big guy, higher upside, and then with a little bit of a smaller receiver in Branch. But I went Hurst, I went Branch. I like the picks there overall. Let's go to round 4, pick 117 here in my mock draft. This is where I had to get a little bit creative. And it's funny, I literally think like everything happens for a reason. And when I saw this player was visiting with the Raiders on a top 30 visit, this is actually how and what inspired me to do this show today. So I pick 117. I'm going to go with safety from USC, Kamari Ramsey. He is a versatile player, more of a free safety than a strong safety. Also played a lot more nickel last season, but he played nickel because he needed to. A few guys for USC went down, which I think forced Bishop Fitzgerald, their other safety, to play a little bit more of that center field role. But Tom really likes Ramsey. The medical checks are going to matter. He's never played in a full season, and I do know for a fact that is one of the reasons why the Raiders brought in Ramsey for that top 30 visit, to see if the medical checks do end up checking out. But at 6 foot, 205 pounds, he's going to be your starting free safety. So the fact that we can get a starter here at 117, I like that. I like putting Ramsey at free safety. You let Isaiah Paul-Amal be your third safety, and you let him rotate around where need be. Maybe you let Germie Chin come up and play a little bit more in that box linebacker role. Maybe you also let Isaiah Paul-Amal wander around the field. The Raiders are going to play so many different packages with Rob Leonard, and it's something that he's probably learned from Brian Flores, Mike McDonald, a lot of zone. Kamari Ramsey, yes, the injuries are concerning, no doubt about it. But being able to find a starter here at 117, I really like that value overall. Let's go to another fourth-round pick here. Going to be coming in at 134. And I decided to go with a big boy. A big boy on the interior. And I'm going to go with Chris McClellan, defensive tackle here from Missouri at 6'4", 323 pounds. McClellan was actually featured in my top 10 defensive tackles that I wanted the Raiders to target video. He's somebody who uses his hand power, and he's like a boxer. I swear to God, this guy was a boxer in his past life. Like, he punches, he hits, and he's got a lot of movement. But he's also somebody that I think that does a really good job taking on double teams. My favorite tape from McClellan was him up against Texas A&M, and that was a really good, Texas A&M team. McClellan showed up and showed out in that football game. So because I'm adding him here a little bit later, this is a player that could potentially be a future replacement for, I was going to say Adam Butler, but they're kind of a different style guy. This is somebody that you could put at nose tackle, somebody that you can have a little bit more depth there, right, for a John Ulala, a Tonka Hemingway, a J.J. Pegues. I wanted to add a DT a little bit earlier in this mock, but just based on the fact that I had to draft only top 30 players, I thought that the best value overall in terms of early on and where I could find later was McClellan coming in here at 134. So I do not have pick 175. Friendly reminder, again, I made that trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, which helped me get Chase Bisontis there at pick 54, and that also helped me get Daylen Everette at pick 68. So I will tell you this right now. There was a few players that I saw at around 175 that I liked the value of, but here coming in at 185, I decided to go with running back Kaleon Black from Indiana. If I'm going to say that the Raiders are 100% going to draft a running back, and if this show is top 30 visits only, you probably knew which direction I was going to go in. I have been talking very heavily with Kaleon Black's agent. Him and I communicate on a weekly basis. They were the ones that allowed me to, tell the news that, hey, Kaleon Black's going to be doing a top 30 visit with the Raiders. We were the first to report on it. Kaleon, actually, the moment that I'm making this video, he was in Las Vegas and is in Las Vegas right now on a visit. He was, unfortunately, with New England on Monday. But this is a running back that if you're looking for that wingman for Genty, if you're looking for a back that's not going to, do any bullshit, I need you to go forward, I need you to get 4 yards, and I need you to be able to pass protect. Pass protection, taking care of the football, no-nonsense running back. That's Kaleon Black. Did not get invited to the NFL Combine, which he is carrying with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. But you know what? I like a dude that's been doubted his whole career. Curt Cignetti took him from JMU, brought him over to Indiana, and now he's got an extra chip on his shoulder. That's a running back that I'll take at 185 to pair with Genty every day of the week, especially when you think that we drafted Chase Bisontis at 54. Let's go to round 6 here, 208. And this is where I got to get a little bit creative here with only our top 30 visits, and I decided to go with linebacker from Cincinnati, Jack Dingle, 6'4", 240 pounds. This is a interesting prospect. So when I was live on the show today, I was telling a lot of y'all that we got a branch at Chat Sports up in Cincinnati. So I reached out to some of our guys in Cincinnati, and they were like, this is a good late day 3 linebacker that, depending on who you talk to around the NFL, some people are like, this is one of the more intriguing options. I would look at Jack Dingle very much as a I don't want to say the opposite of a Tommy Eichenberg, but like Eichenberg doesn't have a lot of flash, just seems to be around the football. Dingle, I think, does offer you some flash, but then also offers you a little bit of like, oh man, why is he doing that? But because of his build at 6'4", 240, there are some people that wonder, can he also be kind of like that edge? Again, not like true edge, but can he offer you a little bit of ability to get after the quarterback? Can he offer you some ability on special teams? Yes, absolutely he can. So because of that, I decided to go with Jack Dingle here, round 6, 208 in my top 30 only mock draft. To round out this bad boy, again, presented by Prize Picks, coming in here at 219, I had to go with somebody that I thought could be a late-round pick in this area, and I'm also trying to fill a lot of depth here overall for the Raiders. I'm going to go with somebody that's got an elite first name. Give me Mitchell Melton, defensive end from Virginia. He had 5 sacks last season with the Cavaliers, and at 6'4", 254 pounds. Think of Mitchell Melton as very much of like a Charles Snowden-esque type of player, where he's going to do a lot of the little things right. He's not going to overly impress you with athletic ability, but like if you're looking for a hard-working, determined player that you can get in the 7th round, that you can line up as an outside linebacker and sometimes even potentially allow him to put his hand in the dirt, like that's going to be something that you can look for in a guy like Mitchell Melton. Before I tell you what I gave this mock draft grade, and before I ask you, if you don't know, I want anybody out there that ever watched the show, I want you to know that we do have shirt options, hat options, hoodie options if you are a Raiders Report watcher. And, you know, one of the things that I've really been trying to focus on more and more this offseason is showing the faces of the people that watch this show, because, like, I can tell you all the time, hey, these are all the products that I have. And, like, as a viewer, again, like, I watch my own show. I try to figure out ways to make it more interesting. But, like, I do have to tell all y'all that, hey, we got this different gear here and there. But also at the exact same time, like, I want to be able to show you guys who are the people that have been buying our gear, because I'm going to put you up on the show. So I know I was talking about Richard Black earlier. Richard, I got to get your profile pic flipped around to look like this so it's not mirrored the other way. But from Richard Black, this was like one of the very first photos that I actually received today. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like a lot of y'all. Like, I wake up, I look for Raiders news, I check my DMs, and shit, right there, Richard Black smiling at me. So if you guys buy any Raiders Report gear, I get a notification when you get it. Tag me on Instagram, tag me on Twitter if I see it. I've been saving the photos, and you've been seeing the photos up on this show. I want people to know the faces of Raider Nation. I want people to know the faces of our community, because proudly, man, I don't know if there's ever been anything I've done better in my life than the community we've been able to build here on this program. So one more time, here is my Raiders mock draft presented by Prize Picks with only top 30 visits. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know down below where you were thinking for this mock. The grade that I went ahead and gave myself was a B-plus grade. I love the offensive picks. I love the fact that we get Ted Hurst, Zachariah Branch, you get Fernando Mendoza, and you get Chase Bisontis. I mean, like, that's an outstanding first 4 players of a draft for the Raiders. The defensive side is, like, very to me. I didn't love the pick of Daylen Everette. I know I'm the one that did it, but again, I'm doing top 30 visits. I would have liked a different move there. You know, getting McClellan, the only defensive tackle at 134. I like the value of Kamari Ramsey, where I was able to go there. But overall, I'm going to give myself a B-plus on this mock. There were a few other positions and other players that if I wasn't doing top 30 visits only, that I would have went ahead and I would have selected those players. But again, the Raiders are interested in every single one of the guys that I talked about today, which was ultimately the reason why I wanted to do this mock draft the way that I did. So if you made it this far in the video, you clearly like mock drafts. You clearly appreciate the content that we provide. And if you do not know, I will be live this Thursday for a Chat Sports team-led mock draft. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also going to be live for all 3 days of the actual NFL draft. Probably about 24 hours worth of live content. It usually, like the way that I think it's going to shape out in my head is I'll be live for 8 hours on day 1, 8 hours on day 2, 8 hours on day 3. We got to go longer. Buckle it up, Buttercup. You know, we can always party here on the Raiders Report. Los Oakland. What up, Los? What's up, Mitch? About to enjoy my vacation in Hawaii, Honolulu. I don't know how close you are to Yoda Jenkins. I know Yoda lives in Hawaii. And also, I just got a notification here that John Spytek is about to speak to the media. So, you think you could set that up for me real quick? You're good. I just got notified that Spytek's about to speak to the media, though I haven't seen it pop up yet. I'm going to try to get it for you guys. Actually, while I was filming that show, according to Ryan McFadden, the Raiders, John Spytek presser with assistant GM Brian Stark, they're going to be starting here, and it's probably going to be at about 10 to 15 minutes. So I knew, again, I was told today that Stark and Spytek were expected to speak at some time today. I just didn't know exactly when it was going to happen. I also mean to totally cut you out on this, Loss, but I am a little bit jealous. I've never been to Hawaii. I want to go. My vacation for me, I have a vacation coming up right after the draft. I think it's the 29th. Alex and I, we have to go to a wedding, so I'll be gone for about 6 days. Obviously, no matter what, we'll get you guys videos every single day here on the channel. Here, I'm going to send you a link. Hang on, guys. Sorry. I'm trying to get this presser for you. Okay. I'm going to send you the link. Yes. How quick are you going to be able to get it up because it started? All right, guys. So Brian Stark and Spytek are talking to the media literally right now. So I want to try to get this. So again, I'm going to try to do my best to get this for you. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. I got some people running around in the back kind of yelling right now. If I can't get it, I apologize, but I do want y'all to know that the Raiders are doing a live press conference right now with Brian Stark and John Spytek, but they don't have it on YouTube. I have a link to it. I'm going to try to get it for you guys. It literally just got dropped in, so I'm a little bit kind of mad at the Raiders did what they did. But, so Spytek was just asked if they've received trade calls for the number 1 overall pick. We've gotten a few calls, and those teams know where they stand right now. But, I mean, he's not going to say whether or not that they're actually going to try to go trade that number 1 overall pick, right? Like, we knew that. We knew that wasn't going to happen. So, right now, Spytek and Stark are talking to the media. Like I said, I'm going to try to get this up here on screen, and I apologize that this has been kind of a little bit last moment, but I knew that they were going to speak to the media today. I did not know when they were going to be speaking to the media, so once we get it all set up on our end, we'll be able to show the John Spytek, Brian Stark presser. Hopefully it's longer than, hopefully it's like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so. Just bear with us here a little bit. I'll try to keep you guys up to date on exactly what they're saying. In terms of why, a lot of NFL teams, they have to do these before the NFL draft. Like, it's not like anything has happened. It was expected, but, and I hate to be like this, but the Raiders did a really shit job of letting us know when exactly it was going to be. Like, I got told today by a source, and I mentioned it in the video that I put out this morning, that I was told that Spytek and Stark are going to be speaking to the media, but I just didn't know what time it was going to be. And the Raiders, they just drop it on you. So, so far the only thing that I've heard is in terms of trading picks, because I'm also trying to listen and talk to you guys at the exact same time. So I apologize for that, but we're getting it set up here on the back end. It might just take a minute or two. But right now, I would say the only thing that's really being big is the fact that the Raiders have received calls for the number 1 overall pick, but they haven't said whether or not they were going to do it in the future. We got to keep this, I think, in here, especially because we knew that this presser was going to happen today. I don't know who it's got to be, but we got to keep it in here. But yeah, that's kind of been the big thing. Yoda, it's like they ambushed us. Sadly, Yoda, I mean, I'm not kidding you when I say this. I had somebody tell me that the Raiders do stuff like this because of Raiders content creators, and I hope that that's not the truth, but I have had unfortunately, the guys that are in the building don't like us doing shows like this. That's something that I have been told. But I always say, I'm just trying to give Raider Nation the best content that I humanly possibly can. That's it's always been the goal. Friendly reminder out there that if we are going to be doing a duck race today, Jaime Portillo, I got you in, man. 20 to win, $140 on the program. I sent it to TV. Okay. I don't know. You probably got to credit Las Vegas Raiders. How else will we hear about stuff, from my opinion? Surfa, it's not even like, I don't want to spill tea. I don't do that. Like, I think it's you guys can probably tell which guys inside that media room don't care for me, but I don't think it's not they don't care for me. I think they just get mad that, you guys watch me instead of listening to them. Correct. I say, yeah. It's the Raiders being live for it, but like I said, I'm trying to bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. To the 433 people, we're trying to get the Spytech Brian Stark presser up for you guys. Again, the Raiders it's not on their YouTube. They just randomly just started doing it, and I don't know why they did it like that. But and I mean, even if, I can go back, and I think even what I'm honestly going to have to do is we're just going to have to rewind it and start it from the beginning. Rebel, get a reaction. I'm trying. I have a hard time listening and talking at the same time, but Weldinator, I saw what you did. Just give me a second, man. I mean, even if we have, I think we just got to credit, Vegas Nation. Yep. Cool. This has been going on for about 6 minutes. They're asking about right now, whether or not they want to draft best player available. They literally said, the value of the player, the best player available. Multiple players graded at the same position. You want to stay true to your board from Brian Stark, which I do agree with because the Raiders have kind of set themselves up in a good spot. John Spytech on intangibles that they look for in the draft prospects. Gotta love football. They need to be great teammates, disciplined, accountable, and passionate to play for the Raiders. Noted a lot of the guys that they choose from the Raiders sought them out, which I think is kind of interesting. Spytek is saying that he did an entire meeting last week with Clint Kubiak and his draft team. Felt that he himself in the front office got a lot of valuable information to align themselves up in what they're trying to accomplish. Spytek right now is saying how important it is for him to for your front office and your coaching staff to be on the same page. And I think he's saying a lot of that because obviously, the team last season was just so split. Is the link not there on TV? All right, guys, we're about to be able to get this here and pull it up in just a second, so just give me 1 second. Again, they keep getting asked about trading the number 1 overall pick. They're not going to trade the number 1 overall pick. If you're asking that question, it's a stupid question. Jack, I know I'm getting it right now, Jack. It's just we weren't set up. We weren't ready. We didn't know when the presser was going to be. But what we'll probably end up doing, guys, is I'll probably just rewind the whole presser, and we'll probably just have to play it from the beginning. I can't. Like when people can be patient, there's not a lot of patience. Well,
and we all understand there's not a ton of patience in the job that we chose here. But if you can find some level of patience and put people in positions when they're...
Yeah, the audio is horrible. It sounds echoey. It sounds bad.
All right. I'm going to go before it gets to a decision on that. But do you believe that it will be...
I don't even think that that's...
playing a young quarterback to start off with. You think that will be philosophically based or merit-based?
We at least just got to put some up on screen, just like credit. I understand. Mr. says, sounds like Demon Spy Tech. Yeah, I mean, again, we're trying to figure it out. I don't know why the Raiders did this the way that they did this today. Basically, Spy Tech right now is just talking about adding competition to every single room that they're in. So to be able to add that competition to every room. I mean, if it can't happen, it can't happen today. I mean, the Raiders are clearly... My only concern is that the audio is coming from some other place, and we don't typically get the audio from there. So it's just not coming through. I mean, don't, because I mean, even that, like, that's so blurry. Like, we can't show that. Spy Tech on the decision to play young quarterback Fernando Mendoza out of the gate or sit him philosophy. He says that the best guy's going to play. So, I mean, Spy Tech is flat out saying that the best guy's going to play. Scouting department's going to do the right job, right guys.
Undrafted free agents right now.
That can't work. Don't worry about it. Guys, I don't think we're going to be able to get it. I just don't think it's going to work today. Spytech says like a big part of like making sure a draft is successful is like having everybody like cool, calm, and collected. It says like having a calm draft room. In terms of the safety class, listen to this quote. I think it's good safety class from top to bottom. Overall, obviously, it's something we've got to attack, and I'm glad the class looks the way that it does. So, I mean, earlier in this offseason, I mean, they literally like were talking about that they needed extra safety depth. And Spytech yet again is saying that they need some extra safety depth. I love that quote. So, I mean, they do. They need to attack the offseason. I mean, they need to attack that safety position. I don't hear it.
I don't think that there's any different contendings or anything that fits out. So all those picks are important.
See, they're talking about right now just trying to find value all throughout the draft, which, I mean, I'll say this, based on the questions that we've gotten today, I actually don't really think there's any information in here that's like, I don't know, out of the blue. Like we knew that they needed safeties, and we knew it was going to be an open competition. We knew they weren't going to trade the number 1 overall pick. We knew that they were going to work together. See, Stark right now is talking about like having open and honest communication with players. And honestly, like how important that is from like their standpoint, but then also like having an understanding of like, I think what's kind of going on behind closed doors. Yep. You're good. All right. What's that noise, V-Dog? Honestly, I think it's the audio from the Raiders presser. I mean, it's so bad. Like, I can't get it the way that I usually do. All right, I'm just going to say it like this, guys. We're going to have to watch the presser on our own time. I just don't think it's going to happen today. So what we'll end up doing, I'll probably share it on my social media, just like a link to the presser. But I am listening to it. I'm going to be very honest. I really don't think that there's a lot of like information in this. I think it's very much like they don't want to reveal anything. People are asking certain questions. Like there's not anything in here that's overly, yeah. There's nothing in here. So they're saying that they can't hear me, so I don't know. Oh, they might be a little bit behind. I got you. All right, y'all. I'm just going to say this. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get the presser of Spytek and Stark. I don't know what the Raiders did. It's completely different, so it's just not working on our end, and I'm not going to... Oh. Is there a way where we can just permanently have a laptop in here so this doesn't always have to happen? Okay. All right, well, I think we can do it. It's all right. All right, y'all. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to get you the presser on Spytek. It's just, it's not going to happen. The audio's, the question was, Spytek on how unique it is having the top pick. The quote was, the number 1 pick, there's a lot less energy spent on hypotheticals. Only one team can get that guy that they want. And we haven't had that opportunity if we, I mean, yeah, this is. All right, guys, we're going to keep this show rocking and rolling. I'll play the Spytek and thing presser in the background, but until they give me something that I think is worth talking about, you could tell Spytek doesn't want to say anything. Stark doesn't want to say anything. All right, let's get this thing going. The Weldinator! Bang! Mitch, T-minus 1 week, bro. The fact that we are 1 week away. Basically 1 week away from getting Fernando Mendoza. I truly cannot wait, man. Truly cannot freaking wait. About to have some midterms. Got to work on my business this weekend. Busy weekend coming. Hope the lads at Chat Sports are doing well. I talked about this earlier, the A's sweeping the Mets. Dude, it was tough, dude. I mean, the fact that now they're going up against the Dodgers, they have not been playing good baseball, but luckily I have the excuse of saying it is only April. thanks for the video that you shared on your Instagram today. Weldonator, you watching the show. Obviously, I appreciate it. And if anybody needs any help, Weldonator, he's got a brand new business. Go give him a follow on Instagram. He'll tell you what it's about. Lil Watts. What up, Lil Watts? Really want Zachariah Branch, if available, in the third round. I mean, he's going to be available in the third round. I do think that this is a player that the Raiders are no doubt going to be looking at. But I think his fit overall, the fact that he wants to be a Raider, and again, like I'm looking at this statement that SpyTech just said in terms of like what he's looking for a player that they're going to be drafting, and it's a guy that is a hardworking player. I'm trying to see the exact quote. Gotta love football. They need to be great teammates, disciplined, accountable, and a passion to play for the Raiders. That's the definition of Zachariah Branch. That's the definition of Zachariah Branch. Sherlock Raiders had a family visitor. Did I miss anything over the last 40 minutes? No, honestly, nothing really. Right now, the Raiders, like SpyTech and Brian Stark are right now talking to the media, but it's not on the Raiders YouTube channel. It's the Las Vegas Review's got it. Vegas Nation's got it. But to me, I think the audio sounds terrible, so that's why I can't play it for all y'all. The offensive linemen are sexy as hell, is what John SpyTech just said. Speaking very highly of Rick Dennison, it seems like everywhere he goes, they run the football and protect the quarterback, which I do think that that's a true statement. But I also think that's like the other statement of why the Raiders are a lot more confident in their offensive linemen than what the national media thinks, is because the Raiders believe in Rick Dennison, and they believe that they actually already do have some talent on that roster, but because Brennan Carroll and Pete Carroll were such a disaster, that could be that. We need more linemen, SpyTech. Are you saying that's what he said, or are you like saying it to SpyTech that we need more linemen? Because, I think our offensive line is a lot better than what it gets credit for. Now, you can always upgrade, right? Shit, I just did a mock draft where we upgraded. Sherlock. Yeah, well, we got that one. We're good. We're caught up now. We were testing out some audio things because we didn't know if it was us or if it was like the Raiders presser that was garbage. So we got to do a duck race here. So this is going to be your final call to get in. I'm sorry that we're kind of, I'll call it a little bit scattered here at the end. I was trying to get this presser up for you guys. SpyTech on potentially adding an offensive lineman in the draft. Quote, I've never been anywhere where you don't feel like you've got too many offensive linemen. They're such a hard position to acquire. Yeah, like, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but these are the answers that we're getting right now. Like, they are very much like, well, yeah, no shit type of answers. But I can, like, they have to do this as an organization in terms of doing this presser right now. But clearly feels like especially at certain positions, just because we've added certain guys. But they're basically saying, like, yeah, of course, we can always add more offensive linemen. Got to do better with Glaze and Rodgers. I do agree with that. All right, y'all, final chance for you to get in this duck race. As soon as this duck race is over, I am actually going to hop off, and I'm going to try to listen to the rest of this Raiders press conference. Just so you know. Just so you know. Final chance to get in. If you win, you're going to be going home with $140. If you come in second place, you're going to be participating at pick 208, round 6 in our Raiders Report mock draft. I will let you make the pick, and then I will just get the reasoning behind each of those picks. And then I will give you my God honest grade at the end. So if you want to get in, now's your chance to do it. John SpyTech on a quarterback battle involving Kirk Cousins, Aidan O'Connell, and Fernando Mendoza. Ultimately, this is a meritocracy, and the best guy will play. I don't know what word I'm looking for there is. Basically, the best guy is going to play, which we knew. Yep, safety, lineman. Yep, I think we're all good. All right, I'm refreshing. Final chance for you to get in. Final chance for you to get in. And I don't see anybody else in, so you could take that and we can run with it. Let's do it. Am I open to moving up Spytek? Moving up Spytek? I don't know what that means. Oh, this is interesting. John Spytek on Jack Besh and Dante Thornton. Two guys that have spent a lot of time in Las Vegas when they could be elsewhere. Two guys that are determined to make the most of the opportunity that they have in front of them. I mean, like, again, I don't mean to be that guy, but these are duh answers. Very, very duh type of answers. All right, winner, going home with 140. Second place, you're going to get in our mock draft. 3, 2, 1, let's get it going. Let's get it going. We got Simon TG getting out here to an early lead. Also, I actually think that the freaking hoodie that Brian Stark has, I'm not kidding you when I actually think it's the exact same hoodie that I have. Is it? No, it's not. It's close, though. So I just got this hoodie. It kind of, I mean, I thought it was the exact same one that Starks got on. It's close, though. It's close. Hi, mate. Yes, you did. You're in. Sean Morgan, right now out to a little bit of a lead. Stark and Spytek presser is now officially over, just so you guys know. They both got up, and they're walking away. Speaking of walking away, Richard Dingle walking away with the dub. Mr. Dingle getting the dub. All right, so give me 1 second here. So that means we got Gabriel. Let me make sure I spell your name right. So, Gabriel, you get pick 208 in our mock. And I have your, Gabriel, I have your Venmo. So, I will be in contact with you this weekend. And then for Richard Dingle, you're the winner. So, you're going to go home with $140. Mr. Dingle, congratulations. All right, fam. I appreciate all y'all pulling up today to Weldinator, to Bayou. Shout out to you guys for banging. Greatly appreciate it. Shout out to Prize Picks. You guys are going to be seeing them a ton moving forward. This is interesting. Spytek on how they evaluate quarterbacks coming out of college. Not a lot of college offenses look like NFL offenses right now. Are they smart? Can they process a lot of information quickly? Do they make good decisions with the football? Are they tough? Are they good teammates? Can they throw the ball at a level that is required to play quarterback in the NFL? Are they athletic? Can they improvise? Or do they have to play in a pocket all the time? That's how Spytek answered that one. So, all right, fam. I'm going to get out of here. Just wanted to say that I appreciate all y'all that tuned in today. I do feel bad that we weren't able to get the Spytek and Stark presser. But I think the Raiders just dropped it on us a little bit late, and I kind of wish that they would have provided us with a little bit more information. So I apologize, and we'll get better here, just like we always try to do. The next time that you're going to see me live on this show is going to be this Thursday. We will be live here on the Raiders Report. This Thursday is when it's going to be ended up going down for our mock draft here at Chat Sports. The mock draft starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll probably go live like a whole hour even before that to kind of just get everything ramped up and get it ready to rock and roll. Yeah, Yoda, I'm kind of with you on that one, unfortunately. If they would have played it on the Raiders YouTube channel, we would have been able to get it. It's just we had to jump through a few extra hoops, and it kind of screwed it all up. But it's all good. They're done. We're done for the day. I will see you guys on Thursday. I will see you guys on Friday. And if any other big-time Raiders news ends up going down, you already know. You better be subscribed. I promise you, I will keep you up to date here on the Raiders Report.